so people can also see it. Huh. That would be smart.
Nah, that's cringe.
Public. There we go. Throwing out the Fleemster, Tweetster. You know how it is. You know how it be. I am not all there. That was probably the greatest intro I've ever done. Does YouTube even realize I did the thing already? Something, I don't know, YouTube is like super slow the last couple of days for me.
Where's the stream?
I don't know.
Pop it up so I know what's going on.
It should be there. Well,
good picture.
yeah. It's funny, like if you look for a thumbnail picture, it's like, oh, this is like all works the way he poses, like it's all good in the thumbnail. It's pretty
Wesley
good.
Snipes is a living thumbnail.
Oh yeah.
It's just like find a picture of Wesley Snipes looking cool. It's like well, that doesn't really narrow it down enough.
Wait, no meme. We're not gonna have a funny fitness talk again.
Yeah. So yeah, we have to see if Meme's gonna make it.
That was fun.
He might be a bit late. There's also some very obvious cum jokes here he could make, so I'm very sad.
Lots of them.
So yeah, I told him he should just pop in whenever he's ready. So we shall make it happen. All right, let me throw out that tweet, Heimers. There we go. Sweet. Okay, every time I'm like on X, I was like, why did they rename this? Like, why would you change this? Like, tweeting is like such a, I don't know, like an iconic Twitter thing. Like, it's like probably the one thing I would never change. I don't know. It's just,
well, now you're Xing.
I don't think anyone's actually saying it's like, I did a post on X. I was like, what?
Yeah, every time someone says it, I find it weird, and I spend a shitload of time on Twitter.
Yeah. But yeah. Blade 2. But yes, hello, chat.
Oh yeah, the IGN tweet. We were gonna say that IGN tweeted, by showing the Jedi at the height of their power, the Acolyte is challenging everything we once knew about the galaxy's good guys.
I really don't want to talk about the Acolyte.
I did soft ratio them.
Look at you, big boy over here. Oh, well, ratio IGN.
Well, no, it was a soft one, so let me explain it. Let me explain what I mean by that. They have 258K impressions with 533 likes. I have 10K impressions with 373 likes on my reply to them.
They
technically still have more likes, but I have more by ratio.
Yeah, it's fine, like Chad. If Meme can't make it today, you can blame Meme that we started later, because he was like the only person who would be later. I'm gonna make fun of him for that.
Oh yeah, you did start up late for that. Oh,
yeah, because the EFAP time slot is when we get the Australian Fleems and or like Weekend Warrior and stuff and peeps like that. So they don't have to wake up at like, I don't know, 5 a.m. in the morning or whatever.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to balance for sure.
Yeah. That's why I like the normal like early start time.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's nice for me.
I woke up for early start time today, but then I finished up Hellboy the Golden Army and did some redrafting of my Hades script. The Hades 1 section is finished.
Yay.
I just have to redraft Hades 2.
It is 4 a.m. now. Well, shut up. Not 4 a.m. for me.
I should draw some Hades 2 art.
Somewhere.
Oh, boy. But yes, today, we obviously, after last week, people were saying, now you need to do Blade 2. And yeah, that's what we're doing, obviously. So, that's what we're doing. I'm really good today. I'm fantastic. I'm doing great.
Metal did a little bit of drinking last night. It's okay. He's German, you know.
I didn't catch that stream. I didn't catch that. So like, what was your guys' overall thoughts on Blade 1? Just a quick summary.
Liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It's really solid movie with just some incredible action choreography and performances. Held back maybe by a little bit of dated CGI, but like that's pretty forgivable, really.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just,
I think go ahead.
Oh, it's just a nice. I mean, I chose the titles like this is what dumb fun used to be. Is what I'd call it last week. because like, oh, this is dumb fun, but it's not like retarded dumb, you know? It's just like, oh,
Yeah, I don't even.
it's
I don't
straightforward.
even.
It's straightforward. Like the things make sense. The you have some character arcs. You have a little bit of story going on that has all the connective tissue there, and then you have
Yeah.
like some fun action scenes here where Wesley Snipes is just a badass. And it's just really funny as well. It's like, oh, man, that's great.
For the dumb fun aspect, like I think of Blade 2 more for that. Like definitely much more of like the action heavy of the two. And I think Blade 1 is actually underrated for some of the other things that it does. Like not just an action movie, but as a vampire movie, playing with the concepts and like seeing the serum that she creates and just really reestablishing the rules and seeing what would be viable. Like, and I just like I really love the rules surrounding vampires, and it's one of the few movies that plays with it in a very modern, unique way. And just Blade, man, everything about him. There's very few people that would have made that character work, and Wesley's just amazing.
Wesley Snipes is great in these roles. Like he is always so much fun.
Oh, and Whistler, man, he's one of the.
he's cool, yeah.
Whistler's just awesome, man. Everything about that guy is perfect.
Chris Christopherson, one of his great modern roles.
Yeah.
And
good
then there was
stuff.
Blade 3. Yeah, Blade 3.
We haven't done that one yet.
It's a great reminder of how some characters just need to be left alone.
I honestly don't. I don't think that's the case. I think they just really dropped the ball on making a good villain for that one. Like because I think that's the element that you need to make a Blade story compelling. You need the antagonist to also be compelling, and I think that Blade 1 and 2 both nailed that. Frost and Nomak, I think, are both very, very good comic book movie villains.
But immediately when I compare Blade's chemistry with Whistler and Spud versus Jessica Biel and Ryan Reynolds, I don't even remember their names. I just remember
I don't even remember that movie anymore.
I think Hannibal King is Ryan Reynolds. I kind of forget Jessica Biel's name.
Just comparing the chemistry between Blade and them, and then Blade and actually, it didn't really work as well.
Well, to be fair, like that movie was a shit show on set. Like Wesley Snipes didn't want to do anything, and he did not like Ryan Reynolds at all.
I mean,
it comes through the performance. It's hilarious.
In fact, 1 second. In fact, if I remember correctly, he refused to be on set with Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, so they had to like film both of the scenes and try to make them like work together.
He like locked himself in the trailer and he wouldn't open his eyes. He just sat in the trailer and he just smoked weed all day or something like that. And he like wouldn't just open his eyes for one of the scenes. Or there's a lot of. I wish I looked at
we showed that last week with the image of the CGI open eyes for Blade.
That's hilarious.
That I've seen clips of that by now since we talked about it. It's like, holy damn, that looks really funny.
It's just all these behind the scenes stories. They're always hilarious when you just hear the story and then it's like, oh, it all makes sense now.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have to do 3 probably in 2 weeks. I feel like just to round it up, the Blade arc, I guess, that we just went on. But obviously next week is gonna be Elden Ring DLC.
I've beaten Mesmer and the Sunflower now.
Yay! One good and one not so good boss.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about it. A lot of people seem to love it, though. I realize that I'm seeing a lot of posts where people are saying it's their favorite boss. I'm just
Flower.
Like, I just hate the. Yeah.
Why?
I literally haven't seen anyone even talk about the Sunflower.
Just more evidence that we should ignore everyone.
I mean, hey, like I streamed it, so everybody saw my reaction to it. I was just like, it was okay. I didn't like that it had 3 health bars. Really, I would have preferred just one bigger one. But yeah.
I still have zero idea where to find the Sunflower was. That's like a whole area that you need to find. I think it's like kind of hidden. I've been led by chat because it's almost like just
Keep. I think that's good enough without being a spoiler. Just bottom of Shadowkeep.
Right.
So if you the same place you fought Mesmer, it's just the opposite end of the building. It's down at the bottom.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a whole thing to find. It's just hard to find.
Grump, did we even get any lore on the sunflower boss? He's like, but the lore, Mark.
It's
I
just
feel like I didn't get any.
No, it's just the meme. It's always there when everything else like, did you see all the lore? It's all lore.
I mean, honestly, for the sunflower, I didn't see it. I guess it says Shadow Tree Avatar, so I can imagine it's pretty much goes on the same rules as the Erd Tree Avatar, right? Like,
dude, I don't know. You know way more about the lore, apparently. Because I don't know anything.
It's a bundle of roots at the bottom of the tree that protects the tree, I guess. Is probably the best way to explain it.
Probably on its remembrance. Yeah, you can probably... Here's the thing. I rarely don't engage with the lore of the Souls games at all. I occasionally go on a little binge and watch all the lore videos and like, oh, that's kind of neat. And then I move on. Find it, I don't know.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, I mean, Vadi video has like tons of videos. It's a really long one for Armored Core. I actually meant to watch that one.
Yeah, Armored Core is actually it's much more story rich than even a lot of the other FromSoft games. By virtue of the fact that like characters who have an active role in the story are also people that you're interacting with a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas the Souls games are kind of more, and even Bloodborne is very much just no. This world just exists and is happening. You just essentially have to fight your way out. It's like this situation's happening not because of you. You just might be the person who might make it out of it alive.
Yeah, Armored Core. It's like because that was like FromSoft's old flagship series, and like they've always had like more interesting stories because the story was front and center. And then obviously Souls, especially like with Demon Souls, they wanted to try something different. I think the project was pretty much like, yeah, no, this is shit. Miyazaki, do whatever you want. And we got Demon Souls, which led to Dark Souls and the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. Lore. We do love lore here. I kind of engage with the Dark Souls lore, like with analog horror lore, where I just watch people speculate and break it down. It's like, oh, that's kind of interesting and fun. I don't know if any of that makes any sense, but it sounds kind of neat. Anyway, let me do something else now.
I don't know. I find that especially on a second playthrough of a Souls game, if I've looked into a lot of the lore in between them, I kind of care more about each of the battles. I'm generally not paying too much attention to it on my first playthrough of any of them, just because like I'm really just kind of there to like see the bosses and stuff, and I know that probably nothing's gonna make sense until I know how it all turns out anyways. So yeah.
Oh well.
I feel like lore is so much more important to me if I'm watching a story unfold, like House of the Dragon or something like that.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean.
With the game, I'm too busy focusing on the mechanics and like that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
Not to say it
funny,
can't, but
funny
it's
you use
more
House
likely.
of the Dragon though, because like Elden Ring lore is also like written by George R.R. Martin. So
Yeah.
like if you like House of the Dragon lore, good news.
No, I think that makes it even a stronger example because the same person like isn't a part of the lore. Where with Elden Ring, if I was to play it, I haven't played it, but I would be much more focused on just like the gameplay. I'm sure.
And again, like I say on a first playthrough, I'm kind of the same way, but I tend to at least play FromSoft games more than once. So except for Dark Souls 2, I didn't want to go through that again. I also didn't really care about the lore in Dark Souls 2, so that did affect things as well. I didn't find it nearly as interesting. Firekeeper lady in that one's pretty hot though. She's a ginger.
Yeah, I agree with that. On a second playthrough, if you really want to get the most out of it, that's when the lore would actually be much more appealing.
Well, because then when you enter those fights that you kind of know the context of and everything, again, knowing what the background is on them, it's like, okay, cool. I understand who this guy is, and why me doing this is important. Liza P is another one with a great story too.
Do any of you guys know anything about Blade in the comics before we even get into the movie?
No.
No, that would have been Meme's whole thing.
Oh, that's another. God damn it! Another reason he's
well, if Meme shows up, I guess we can get the the comic perspective at the end.
Yeah,
I've never heard anyone actually discuss the like Blade as an adaptation, like whether or not it's done well or what what they left out or what they improved. I've never actually heard that discussed, which is I'd be becoming interesting.
What I remember from last week, what Meme said is that the movies actually affected the comics because Blade wasn't originally half a vampire, right? He was just a really strong dude who was immune to
Really?
getting bit by vampires. But then
Really?
I swore he
the
was
movie
in the
was
Spider-Man cartoon though, which was before Blade the movie.
Yeah.
Because I remember when Blade got announced, the only reason I knew it was a comic book movie at all was because
of
he
the
pops up in
cartoon.
the Spider-Man cartoon when
Same with me.
Morbius shows up.
maybe they changed it in the cartoon first. I just know originally in the comics he was not like that. It might have been the Spider-Man cartoon. Again, this is like a week ago. If Meme was here, he'd know. But regardless, basically, the Spider-Man or this changed Blade. They changed him to match that because he was so positively received in, I guess, the animated Spider-Man show.
Oh yeah, this movie came out 2 years before Spider-Man.
Now that Meme is gone,
Yeah, a lot of people
stocks will
forget.
drop by 30%. That's true.
A lot of people forget. Blade was 98, so that's before X-Men. X-Men was 2000. I think Spider-Man was 2001. Am I right?
I remember having to sneak into the theater to see it by buying a ticket to another movie because I was 14.
Ooh, bad boy.
Yeah,
Wow.
did the same for Blade 2, and I'm not sorry.
Now you're gonna go to jail because everybody
Silver City
knows.
Empress Walk can suck it.
I'm gonna call the popo. They're gonna get you.
I thought it was gonna be shit for some reason, so I never saw it. And then I just got it randomly on a VHS when I was bored one time, and I was like, "What the
Clearly
fuck?
you're
This movie's
racist.
amazing." I don't know. I don't even know. I wasn't feeling the cover, and I'm like, because I've seen so many action movies. I'm very, very cynical when it comes to it. I thought it was gonna be shit, right? But no, it's such a cool character. I love the premise, and I really, really, really love vampires. They're one of the coolest fictional creatures, and very rarely do you see them played with properly. And like the Reapers in Blade 2, it's between those and like the Orokai. Those are like some of my favorite like practical effects works, like creature wise. Like so many hordes, so many horde type enemies just get boring and like have no individuality. But like Orokai and Reaper is just boom, chef's kiss. Love them. I'll never forget the first time I saw the Reaper open its fucking jaw, like the whole fucking spread thing it does when it opens.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's one of my
So gross.
favorite fucking body horror things ever. Oh,
no, they also have like the big practical prop when they dissect one of them. It's like, oh man, this looks gross.
Geez.
I love it.
And you guys all know like if the feeling of watching a movie with your parent and it's like they think it's shit and they're just doing it they're just watching it to watch it with you versus like them actually enjoing it. It's just, it's like a different experience. Invested. Yeah, it's so, and I just remember my mom getting so invested in just the whole horror element of it. It's fun.
Oh,
nice.
1 second.
Has YouTube removed PayPal for super chats? I don't know, not that I'm aware of.
That would be
I
really
don't know.
dumb.
I generally use my like phone pay system for super chats. I rarely buy super chats on my computer.
I feel like YouTube has been a bit more tismy lately anyway, at least for me. Like it's been taking longer for YouTube to realize that my stream is live and stuff like that. Maybe it's just flaming up.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, it's been weird for me too. Like on my phone, I usually like put on videos when I'm going to bed, but it like kept like for the last few days it kept minimizing for some reason, and I wouldn't like touch anything.
Yeah,
so that was odd.
I feel like the YouTube just has like waves of like a week or two, which is like I'm not going to work properly for a bit. It's like why? It's like there's just some big platform. That's why it's like okay.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But as far as Blade goes, I think my dad showed me Blade originally because he really liked Blade because he was, because in the 90s my dad was very much like he was like wanted to be the cool black guy, and Blade does that quite a bit. So we watched that movie a lot. Like pretty much, I think he took me to the theater for Blade 2, and then I think the last time we watched it was like 2017, sometime before around there. Yeah.
Okay.
So I really like Blade, mostly because it just reminds me of my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Blade is cool.
Yeah.
So was your dad black, or did he just want to be a cool black guy?
Well, I'm black, so I don't know.
There you go.
Maybe I came from an Asian.
I mean, I don't know what you look like. Well, your profile picture is like not human, right? Like, is there anything in there even?
Is there anything in there even?
I don't know. How do you pilot a mech with nothing in there?
Is there anything?
Well, is there a pilot? That's like some mechs are automated.
Not Mr. Raven over here.
All right, well,
but I'm
gonna
gonna change it soon.
Podcast, so both of you have to leave now, Brooks. I'm kidding.
No, but that's one thing about Blade. Like, Blade isn't. It wasn't like, oh my god, a black superhero. It was like, no, this guy's awesome. There's a million other reasons why. And then when you check all those boxes, then you can be like, yeah, you can reference him as one of the cool black superheroes. But he's not cool because he's black. It never worked that way. Like, like for me, cool. I've never been a big Superman fan. He's just a bit too OP for me. And maybe if I got more into the story and the characters and the lore, then that would change. Like I know that's there. I just haven't tapped into it. Changing Superman and making him black, that wouldn't make me like him. It wouldn't do anything. I don't give a fuck. Like, it just doesn't work that way, you know?
Well, I mean, Michael B. Jordan was just born to play Superman, so you're racist. How about that?
Damn. I think a lot of it does come from just Wesley Snipes being Wesley Snipes. He has his...
Exactly. This is the part of the thing.
Baddest motherfucker imaginable.
If it was simple as like him just being black, they would have they would have replaced Blade ages ago. But you need someone who is black but also has that same vibe. Like he's got to have that same charisma that Blade had, but not trying to just redo Wesley's, right? And I think this Mahershala dude, he's the one. He's the one. Let this guy cook. Like, why are they fucking around with this guy? He's the guy. As someone who's really picky about the casting for Blade, I give him the fucking thumbs up. And he is getting screwed right now. It's been like years they've been talking about this movie.
Yeah, he does kind of. I remember him from Luke Cage. He does embody that. I keep saying black because kind of who Blade is. He's very urban, right? But
Cottonmouth had gravitas as well, like similar to Blade, whereas like you believe that this guy can fuck you up.
Absolutely, like he walks into the room and he's not and like he grabs everyone's attention because he's like, I am the baddest person in the room, much like Wesley Snipes, except for I don't think what's his name? I'm so bad with names. I'm just gonna call him Ali. Except I don't think he's 5'9". So hopefully that helps because I feel like they had to work a lot with camera angles to make Wesley not look like a midget.
I'm shorter than Wesley.
Enough. Like that's what you have to do sometimes for the characters. Like Wesley, if you're gonna make him an imposing figure, like it's just something you have to work around, right? But with Mahershala, there's probably much more potential because we've seen it with the Batman. Isn't he much taller than Bale, or am I getting that the other way around?
Bane is, I think Tom Hardy's like 5'10".
No. I'm talking about Twilight guy. Why am I like him as an actor? I can't
Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson. Yeah, right. Pattinson's Batman. We've seen tall Batman, short Batmans. We've seen them work their way around this thing. So I don't think it's gonna be an issue with Mahershala. The most important thing is that he has and if Tom could be an action star, then anyone can, all right? Like if you could work around.
And he's a good one too. He's not even shit.
Well, I was just mentioning Tom Hardy because that was something they famously had to work on because he's Bane, but he's much shorter than Christian Bale. So they had to work with camera angles to make sure that it wasn't like little guy versus very large Batman.
Well, I mean, that's sorry, go ahead.
No, someone in the chat just mentioned if we've seen tall Wolverine. If they can make a tall Wolverine work, then they can make anything work. It's about capturing it's about capturing like the spirit of the character. It's not about having all that. Everything, you know. As soon as I saw Hugh Jackman get angry, I'm like, yeah, this guy can do it. He's and then by X2, he was the fucking king.
Yeah.
By the SWAT team, like anyone who's doubting him, by the X2 like SWAT team scene where they came to the mansion, by the scene everyone just bends the knee.
Best scene,
Shut the fuck up.
All of the old X-Men movies.
It's such a that's a scene where anyone who's a fan of the cartoons and it was like just getting into like the live action adaptations, that was just a fucking banger of a scene. I love it. And then that match with the Nightcrawler scene just keeps X2 as like one of the classic ones, you know? Everyone has love for that movie.
Talking about movies, we watched one and now talk about it. Well, that was a great segue. Good job, me. High five.
Yeah. Speaking of blades, like Wolverine has on his claws.
He has blades too, and we talked about the movie that it's called Blade. Did it?
Speaking of Blade, we're sponsored by Manscaped.
Oh god, is that the meme sponsor?
I mean, wouldn't have been a bad segue.
Oh,
I believe that, like, I think when the YouTube gives you sponsorships like, or not YouTube, when people give you sponsorships like that for videos, there is like a stipulation that you have to try to make it a smooth transition.
Smooth, like my balls after I used Manscaped.
I think you're just not allowed to directly say now a word from our sponsors or something like that. And it's like you've got to actually make it sound like it's something we're just
that's stupid
working into the video.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's just because like
how annoying.
People skip, and if you do it smoother, people won't skip. I usually like I have a rule. If it's really smooth, I will watch it. If it's shit, I will skip it so fast.
So
a lot of people stand by that.
Specifically for people like Swoll.
My rule is my mouse too far away or not?
Is it practical for me to hit skip that?
I don't like seeing sponsorships in videos. Nobody wants to get interrupted, but like if you're gonna do it, find the most tasteful way to do it properly in terms of like the perfect timing, making sure it's maybe it's relevant to what you're talking about.
I think a way to do it
is
also
a lot of the
make sure it's something you actually like recommend, as opposed to just
Yeah.
like BetterHelp.com. It's where I go for all of my psychiatric care.
That should go without saying. Hopefully, with sponsorships, like that would be king.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Thanos is risen.
Meme.
Yes.
I have been on my knees for the last.
Did he
trying to get my fucking Wi-Fi thing to work.
Oh, I was like, wait a second, man.
There are so many ways he can go with that. I'm like, where are we going? Is he puking?
Honestly, I made the "did he like it" joke, but I think I honestly heard memes say I've been on my knees trying to get my wife off, but it's Wi-Fi to work.
Hey.
I was like, holy shit! I was like, I actually kind of nailed it there. Misgendered, but you know.
Greetings.
Coom.
Purple man.
Let me save this Discord call now so I can update the thumbnail. But not now. I'll do that post.
I'm gonna ask the question right away, so that just in case it gets interrupted. Meme. Is there anything you can tell me about like the adaptation for Blade, just overall, like what they did right, what they improved, if there's anything they forgot? I don't feel like anyone ever discussed Blade as an adaptation from the comics. Yeah.
From what I understand, admittedly my knowledge of Blade is somewhat limited, but it seems the main thing they changed was making Blade a vampire, because in the comics he was more a vampire immune human, but then the movie was so successful they just changed the lore in the comics to match the movie. So it's kind of like whatever didn't match before now matches now.
But what about the cartoon? Because
am I crazy to think he had fangs in the Spider-Man cartoon?
Yeah, he did. He was a vampire.
Fangs.
Well, that's the interesting thing. That was the first time they did it. My theory is that they did it there first. Well, obviously they did it there first, but it might have literally been that they watched the Spider-Man cartoon as more of a reference point for the adaptation than the comics, possibly because it's easier to consume a few episodes of television than to sift through many things. Or maybe they watched the Spider-Man adaptation, they liked that idea better. There's a few possibilities.
I think that makes more sense. Because if they're gonna get a reference for Blade, it's gonna be quicker to watch a few episodes of the cartoon than go through the comics, and then maybe they'll just go based off that. But
yeah, exactly.
Interesting enough.
Cool. The movie Blade. I didn't have a segue now. I stopped trying because somehow we get sidetracked every time. We haven't even started with the movie yet.
Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, we've been fucking around.
You don't need me for tangents. You don't need me for tangents.
No, we're capable. We're capable. It's like we like to talk about things and stuff that are interesting. Crazy.
Oh, yes. Am I too quiet, by the way?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I can hear.
I'm going to turn my
speciality.
Turn myself a little bit up. And now a little bit down. There we go.
That sounds good to
there
me.
You sound very sexy.
Yeah. My computer's been making very distressing beeping noises as well. I hope it's not expensive.
That's
fun.
Fun.
I'm actually going through a similar thing. I might be having to replace my motherboard in my streaming PC.
Oh, yeah. Alright, you still have to do that. Rip.
Yeah, I mean, I got it working for a little while. It's just now my capture card's constantly acting up, and it's actually making me like kind of nervous to stream. So I'm like, I should fix this.
Yeah.
But we have a thing to do on Monday that I need it for, so I'm not going to bring it in until Tuesday.
That's future Mark's problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's jump in the schmovie. Because we start out with showing the new the big bad of the movie, which has the very threatening name of Jared. Which
That's his first name.
just found
No,
funny.
Mac's a pretty badass last name as far as they go.
Well-
I'd say.
Well, it's like how Star Trek's first villain was Gary. You know, it only...
You
But
don't
yeah,
always start off with bangers.
he just kind of pretends like he's like a hobo, homeless person that goes to donate some blood. It's like they pay out cash, wah 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 wah, and then then they go grab him. It's like, do you have like any ties to anyone, any family, whatever? And he's like, no, it's just me, or no one I really have contact with. And why? It's like, well, you got funny blood, so you're gonna have a bad time now. And he's like, ha ha ha, no, you actually. And then he kills them all because he is some kind of monster man himself.
Yeah.
They don't say what he is yet, but we learn pretty quickly that he is a new type of vampire, which they call a Reaper or the Reapers.
We're also in this scene not shown what exactly he does. It looks like he just bites the He bites a vampire who violently shoots blood out of like the carotid artery onto the wall. It's a really good.
We know he's strong enough to kill a vampire, but they don't give you the full reveal, which I'm really happy about.
Yeah,
and he also
God, when you get it, it's like,
I think
so
they
good.
they don't reveal it in this scene, but he does say in this scene that he hates vampires.
But they do talk about it's like, oh, where'd you get that scar on your chin from? He's like, oh, childhood accident. Obviously, if you've seen the movies before, you're like, nah, it's always an accident.
That's a nice little detail for rewatches. They're like, ain't no accident.
You know, it just occurred to me. It just occurred to me that don't vampires' hearts stop beating? So how would they squirt blood out of there?
I don't know.
It's not like a huge deal. It's funny because obviously they're doing it for dramatic effect. But I just thought of that.
I mean, do the heart do blade vampires' hearts not beat? I don't know if that's.
I've never even really thought.
I don't know if that's if theirs don't, but I'm just thinking.
I don't know. Like the vampires in this movie seem more. It's more like illness, like virus vampires, where like it's like they're still a living thing. They have a very very long lifespan, and they're hypersensitive to UV.
And they
I don't think that part of the lore was
allergic
something
to silver and garlic.
It was weird. I never heard about that lore, like in general, about vampires. That's a new one to me.
Oh yeah, their hearts don't beat.
Yeah,
usually.
like if you're talking about like Dracula style things like them not having reflections, though, I think are more mystical vampire powers, whereas these are more grounded in their mythos. As far as
there's a lot of parts of the lore that they didn't incorporate. Like they that is a part of it, but there's thing in any of the Blade movies that is established that their heart is not beating, or they never did the.
Well, I mean, if anything,
there's a lot of things that they didn't do.
If anything, in this movie, we see very clearly that vampire-like beings have functioning like anatomical systems.
Yeah, they function
we
differently.
Have a thing style friggin' autopsy.
Oh fuck!
Right?
I love that scene, man. I think that's one of the best scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah. I guess what I love is I'm going to say this off the bat because as we start talking about it, I think it'll occur to them more than more. This is the Blade movie that's also Aliens and The Thing.
Oh yeah,
and
true.
It's kind of nice, man. It's I think it went well.
Funny enough, I haven't seen either of those.
Ooh.
What the fuck?
You definitely need to watch The Thing.
And Aliens.
And Aliens.
I don't watch horror movies. So.
I don't know why.
Aliens is a sci-fi action movie. It's not really a horror movie.
I'm not watching the.
If you can watch this movie, you can watch Aliens, no problem. Like it's a movie about space marines fighting aliens.
I don't watch horror. No.
Well, I mean, like, how did you watch this then? The Reapers are honestly scarier than anything you'll see in Aliens for the most part.
I don't know because I've been watching it since I was a kid.
How much of a threat they'd be.
I guess it's I don't know. I don't really get the horror atmosphere. I like horror elements. I'm just really weird about sound. In a lot of horror movies, they have very good sound design.
Are you talking about jump scares?
James Cameron has such good sound design in Aliens, though.
Jump scares aren't the worst. It's more just like the atmosphere and like building tension, and that stresses me out.
Can you play Aliens Colonial Marines?
I have not played it.
Proper
we
horror
don't talk about
is
Aliens Colonial
thing.
Marines here.
Now we have it on tape.
I was kidding, everybody.
I am a pussy. Yeah. I'm not afraid of it.
Clearly you are.
Oh, true.
Got him.
True.
Got him.
And sorry, I misspoke. Not from a threat standpoint. I think as far as like how gory and freaky the Reapers look, they look like kind of. They look like something that would be more disturbing to people who don't like horror than the alien, like H.R. Geiger's Alien. H.R. Geiger's Alien looks really menacing, but it also looks really cool. Like
the Reaper, the Xenomorph, I think looks fantastic. It looks amazing. I've never been afraid of it though. The Reaper is fucking terrifying.
Oh, I love Aliens. Not the movie, but I love the design of the Xenomorphs.
Yeah, the design.
I used to draw them all the time.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I think the Reaper is really unappreciated in terms of horror creatures. Like it's
well, I mean, have you guys heard of The Strain?
Yeah. I have heard of it, but again,
okay. So The Strain is a series.
I thought they called it Star Wars. Yeah. Strain of my balls.
That's funny. But balls. The Strain was a series of books that Guillermo del Toro co-wrote with this other author. I kind of forget his name. The books are over on my shelf, but I can't reach them or see them because it's dark. But they made it into a TV show that was not very good. But you will notice, you will very much see that Guillermo del Toro had this type of vampire kicking around in his head for probably a very long time.
And you find an opportunity to use it. I know that I watched that show. I was really liking it, and then the moment they revealed the vampire, he looks like shit. I was just like,
oh, no. I would recommend the books.
The second I looked at him, I was like, no, you ruined it. You ruined everything.
There's 3 books, and the third one in particular is quite strong and is kind of done a lot differently than the way they do it in the show. It's also much larger scale because I think that, like, obviously they don't have to worry about a TV budget to work with to make it look like the entire world's overrun with these things or something like that, right? Yeah. So it, I would recommend the Strain books, and if you enjoy the Reapers from this film, there's some good stuff there. And a very Nomak-like character that is kind of a cross between Nomak and Blade, honestly. Who is in the show. He's like towards the end of the series, if anyone watched it. But yeah, Blade 2.
Blade 2.
But speaking of the Xenomorph, you know the tendons in between the jaws of the Xenomorph? You know when it opens its jaws up and it looks all stretchy? Those are condom.
Oh, no way.
In the first movie, they had to get creative with the design, so they put condoms to form the I guess you can call it the tendon cartilage in the alien's mouth.
There's a lot of cool tricks you can do for low budget makeup with just everyday items that you can get at a grocery store pretty easily and turn into.
That's what I'm saying. That's so much cooler than like, oh, they CGI'd it. No, they used some fucking condoms and duct tape.
They got creative. They were like, hey. We just need to get the appearance of this. It doesn't need to actually be this. How do we make it look like this thing?
The illusion of storytelling.
There's no rules.
One of the most underappreciated aspects of it.
Fun fact: all art is just lying.
Well, I mean, movies in particular. It's your
very true.
It's a magic trick, right?
Yeah, but that's like exactly it, though. Like how much, like how can you get us to maintain that illusion? Like like how quality of a story can you tell to maintain movie magic and get us to buy into the fucking story? Immersion is a really key part of it, and it's even though it's a lie, essentially, we all know stories aren't real, but when they can get you really sucked in, you don't even want to look at your phone, and it actually means something to you. Like,
well, I mean, you start also looking at them and how they're at a deeper level. Like, what are they trying to tell you? Like, what is Aliens really about? Because we've got a character who's lost a daughter and manages to be in the situation where she really wants to save a child. And that, I think, like really comes to a head very well in the last act of Aliens, with trying to not give very much away, because I know there's people who haven't seen it. And it's good stuff. You should watch it.
Yeah. Well, this movie definitely took inspiration from it to some degree, of having like the horror element in the first one, and then this
also
is much more the action version.
The elite team aspect too. Like it's like, now you're going in with like the real badasses who like are they're scarier than the monsters themselves. So don't worry. And then you see the threat, and it's like, oh, the scary badasses we brought are not at all prepared for this.
With this opening scene here, you see it just cuts to, you get Blade's like narration, and it cuts to him like chasing down the guys. Is this like the first superhero landing, like the big like?
I'm trying to be non-spoilery. Sorry, I'm just telling the chat to not spoil aliens.
Would you say like this jump here, is this like the first like big superhero landing, like this intro here?
It might be.
I mean, yeah. You know,
Very
and also
possibly.
it is probably one of the first films that started incorporating cuts to fully CGI versions of the main character, because Matrix Reloaded, I think, did that. While I think the effects were better from a technical standpoint, I think Matrix Reloaded in the 100 Smith fight fails in a way that Blade 2 succeeds pretty often, just by having it be like a fully lit scene. Whereas every time they cut to a full CGI thing in this movie, it's really bizarre lighting that's happening in the screen, and it's only for a couple seconds.
Yeah,
so like you notice it, and you're like, yeah, that's CGI, and it could be better if it was made now. But
for the time,
I think it was used very smartly. Yeah. Even
there's
one Reapers opening their mouths, I think.
There's one fight in particular that we'll get to that is garbage in terms of the CGI usage. But
Yeah,
overall,
I think
the movie,
it's the first.
We all know which one we're talking about.
Yeah,
we all know the one.
Yeah, but I think
they worked harder on the Nomak fight.
I think it sticks out more because like back then they did not have the they didn't get the physics for the CGI right, so things move oddly. Like I think I thought of it as like everything moved excessively heavy.
It's like a video game.
Well, they look like they're made of rubber a little.
It's a video
yeah,
game.
that's it.
Really bad
it's
video
kind
game.
of what ends
It actually
up
reminded me of how the characters in Mortal Kombat looked back in the day in some instances, and the way they moved.
Yeah, like the
CGI,
cutscenes
they
especially
looked like it.
Yeah, it's like that with more elaborate animation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I'm wondering if a lot of it was like hand animated, and so like you switched from like actual people moving to like something that's more akin to like traditional animation. So maybe that's where like the disparity comes in.
It's jarring, man. It's made so much worse by the hard cut of going from seeing like you said, seeing the real people and then just jumping to this fucking smudge. It looks so terrible.
I kind of saw it as the other way around. I thought consistently cutting back to the real people is what sold me on the CGI shots. That it was the fact that it's like, oh, it's just for this crazy move that would have been almost impossible to get the camera angle they got for the shot they were trying to do. They went for something crazy. It didn't age very well, you know, like doing what you can with the technology at the time. But I think it was like really good filmmaking to seamlessly cut from those and seamlessly as far as like what you're seeing on screen happens, and the precise moment of switching from a CGI shot to a real shot was usually the same shot being done in live action, having the CGI version being done on top of it, and then just dissolving out the CGI. So then you're left with just perfect animated, like live action footage of Luke Goss and Wesley Snipes beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
I think what also we should remember is that this looked really good for the time. Right? Now it
would not have spotted
pretty
it back then.
But like now, back then, because
that's kind of what I was saying. I brought it up is like this was one of the first movies that did that. It was this, Matrix Reloaded, and Spider-Man. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
I still saw a lot of it still holds up. I don't mind the effect of the vampires being killed. Like it still looks fun to me.
Yeah, that one looks good. It's mostly just like the fight scenes that look kind of rough. But again, like this looked great for the time because I remember watching it. I thought it was like really cool. Now, when I watched it, I was like, that's shit.
Because you've never seen a camera move like that in a live action movies. Like that's the thing. They pull off shots that are only capable in that are only possible in animation that you're not going to be able to get to do practically. So the first time you see it, that's really crazy. But now that technology has gotten a hell of a lot better, and we've seen it done to death, and now it's starting to look worse, funny enough. Going back and then looking at like the first time it was honestly tried in a real big budget movie, it aged poorly. I think like it's safe to admit that, but I still think they were doing some cool stuff with it.
What did you guys think of this scene now? Because this to me, I remember like when I was watching it, it was one of the first time where they just resurrected someone. We're like, you know what? Fuck it. You guys just cheated. Whatever. You wanted Whistler back for this movie.
Yeah.
Because his death scene in the first movie is a fantastic death
scene. So good.
They just said, nah, We're bringing him back. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Like, this is the ultimate fuck it moment.
That does suck. I'm not defending that.
There's no way around
Whistler
it.
Back
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate moment of, even as a kid, I was like, I see what you did there. I liked him too, but you fucking cheated. Like,
it's kind of funny.
He died. He's dead. Like,
Because
come on.
I remember.
We didn't technically say it.
I know. Like, come on.
Remember when we did the whole Saw arc a while back? It was like they really must have hated themselves for killing off Jigsaw.
They had to bend their back over for the next like 10 movies to try to figure out a way to. Yeah.
They should have just.
Why we killed this guy?
They should have just made something like this, where it's like, actually, this was just part of the plan. I was never dead. Haha, the Mao. It's like, is it cheesy and stupid for sure? But man, you don't want to have Jigsaw killed off. Then you have to do these crazy fucking. Which makes the movies funnier though, when it's like, actually, this guy was here all along too, and now this, and has a tape up his ass, and then you can get it out of there.
I think the reason that happened is Darren Lynn Bousman, the director of Saw 2 and 3, knew that he wasn't going to be making any more Saw movies, so he did like definitively want Saw 3 to be the end, and then they were like, no, we're
actually going to make 8 more.
More money to be made. More money to be made.
My sister acted in one of his movies, so apparently he's a pretty nice dude. She's in Repo the Genetic Opera.
But like, as far as him coming back, it's like cheap and pretty stupid, but ultimately I think it was probably the better decision. They could have done it better, right? But like, he's very integral to the story, and obviously him and Blade have such a chemistry that I think missing out on it would have just hurt the film.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so it's one of those decisions.
You basically said you basically just said what we said. Whistler's awesome, and we wanted him back. So fuck it.
Yeah.
But in terms of the story, he's not essential to the plot. Like I would agree with that part.
They have to bite the bullet on you retcon Whistler's death. Like, it's they're not getting out of it. That is what happened.
It's the original retcon for me in terms of something I noticed. Like for sure, like you cheated, but fuck it.
Yeah, look, on the scale of like how these on the scale of how like bullshit like resurrection retcons, like I think this is on the more inoffensive side, because you have like you know, it happened off screen, vampirism already has a thing. There's probably a good character reason that he wouldn't, you know, there's a few different pieces of wiggle room you have there.
You're not bringing him back to play second fiddle to Scud and be totally inept compared to him to make Scud seem cooler because he's the one that's going to be in the third one.
Exactly. If you're going to bring him back,
that would be what they would do if they brought Whistler back today. If they made Blade 2 today instead of in the 2000s.
They made the most of it. I loved his relationship and the back and forth with Scud. I really liked his payoff.
Oh my God,
like him saving Blade in the end. Like him escaping and saving Blade is like his finest moment. Like he's such a
he's the hero of the movie.
Man. He's so
that's kind of what I mean by they kind of needed him back. Not like, they need him for the plot, but like you would be losing out on a lot by just replacing him with Scud, and like you lose out on your fun little twist and all that, and then it helps Blade and all that. So I think it'll. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, I was saying Whistler's banter with the Blood Pack is fucking hilarious to argue with them. But it's you know what? Fuck it. I'm glad they brought him back.
It's like, you know what? You can cheat as long as you make the cheat worth it. Like I think that's probably the way I'll say it.
Yeah.
I don't think Kojima nailed it with the Metal Gear Solid 4. Everything was nanomachines.
Absolutely.
Like that. That's an example of a big retcon of a bunch of cool stuff that was not nearly handled as well. But I think bringing Whistler back, that paid off pretty big.
Here's the difference. All 5 of us can say, yes, he's awesome, we want him back, but acknowledge that it is a retcon and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that will want to fight for this, like the mental gymnastics for this shit. There's people out there that are like, no, it makes sense.
The thing is, they'll say, well, then anything you say about any retcon that Disney Star Wars has made isn't valid because you're okay with this one. It's like, no. It matters what they then do with the retcon.
Yes.
You know, like it's,
pretty much,
I might have been totally fine with Han Solo being the deadbeat dad and Force Awakens if it turned into a phenomenal story by the end of that third movie. But you know what?
I didn't.
Like the results speak for themselves. I don't hate the retcon of making Han shit necessarily, but I hate that it didn't amount to anything.
Right?
Yeah, when Luke was missing in TFA, it was anyone immediately pissed, or were you intrigued? I was like, what's Luke up to?
Absolutely.
Like, he's getting shit done. I know Luke's getting shit done. It's gonna be fun when we see him. It's gonna be a big reveal.
I
honestly thought my
he was getting the breast milk, that fucking alien breast milk, man.
My optimistic meta fan theory for the reason why Mark Hamill wasn't in TFA was that, hey, you know what? Mark Hamill, he's an older guy. He probably hasn't been like training for an action movie in a very long time.
No.
I think
they didn't want him to
He was training.
They didn't want him to overshadow. They didn't want him to overshadow their characters.
I know. And I'm not talking. I'm not talking about reality. I'm talking about what I was optimistically thinking between movies. I was like, okay, so maybe Mark Hamill really needed to get into shape because they don't want to bring Luke back until Luke can really look like he can come back and kick ass. You know, like we're gonna hook him up with Sylvester Stallone, get him on some HGH, and just see what we can make happen here. You know, but
ripped Luke.
No, they just like that's the thing. They didn't do that though. They just made him shit. So it's like, well, so it's not the twist necessarily. It's that the twist sucked. Whereas here, it's like you did a retcon. So, big twist, having Whistler back, crazy. But you know what? You did good things with it. So ultimately, it's like, well, it's not great, but also, fine. We got a good movie out of it.
Exactly. So apparently, Michael Morbius was in the first Blade movie, but they deleted his scene. What? How? What?
We could have had Morbin time back then already.
Man.
Yeah. What happened?
What's crazy is Jared Leto's so old. He's so old that he probably could have played him.
True.
I'm not kidding.
That would have been
He was
funny.
already in Fight Club by that point, wasn't he?
Oh yeah,
Or, no,
yeah.
he
He got his face beat in.
Morbin there, not as well, but he morbed.
Oh, apparently it was included as a bonus feature on the DVD.
Ooh. I have the DVD at my parents' house.
Ooh. Okay, run to your parents' house right now.
Do it.
That's too far. Brooks is actually a lot closer to my parents' house than I am right now.
Well, Brooks, you know what you have to do.
Go get it.
Hop on over to East York there.
But yeah, we all, obviously we have like the big action beginning scene again after the Jared scene, and it's just it's just what you love to see from Blade. He just kicks ass. He's quipping around. He throws a little kiss to his car that he's saved from a motorcycle. He has this one.
Oh yeah, that part's great.
This one guy is called like Rush or something that he uses as a shield, and he gets shot. I mean, he's a vampire, so he doesn't die. He's like, oh my god, it's still like I am hurt. It still hurts like hell, but I can't die. I think he says something like that. It's kind of funny.
It's I just want to add real quick that first scene. It's such a good scene for a reintroduction to Blade. You get a great idea of his all his tools, his skill set, that like his approach to these fights, and just the fear that he put in those guys. Like when his two guys rode around a bike and he's like screaming because he got left behind.
Yeah.
Like
oh
just
God,
the fear. Yeah, because like it's not like other superheroes where like Blade's about to fucking murder all of you.
Of course I'm gonna fist fight Superman right now. I'm the villain. It's like no, stop it, run.
No, there's other guys we can put your hands up and be like, all right, I'll go to Spider-Man's not gonna
Blade's
kill you.
not trying to stop you. He's trying to kill you.
Exactly. Spider-Man villains aren't screaming for their lives.
Yeah,
so.
You're absolutely right. You see his badass gun, his sword, his little throwy spin blade thingy.
Yep.
And he just has fun killing those vampires, man. Like there's this one guy who just kind of goes like when he goes at Blade with his weapon and just kind of punches him once, and you can like hear Blade just go like and just stabs him to death. It's like he's just having a great time killing all these vampires. It's great.
When he slices the heads off with the wire, I love that.
Oh, that wire is so cool, dude. It's like the scene in the first one when he kills Quinn. Like he's just kind of been toying with him the whole movie, and at the end it's like, I'm gonna get my revenge now. I have both my hands back, and just kills him in like half a second with that.
That's such a fucking fun payoff in movies.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that in other ones where it's like a big revenge quest for like a certain character, and they just get murked in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
that in itself ends up being the payoff. That's one of the best ones actually, because I did like that guy's performance.
Oh yeah,
he's fucking worrying about it. He's so sensitive about his hands throughout the whole movie.
It's really great.
Frost is threatening to chop them off. I love that scene. He's so good, man. So many good side characters in this movie, in both movies actually.
I'm just fucking with you.
It's so good. It's such a perfect scene.
But yeah, obviously he's as we already said, he gets Whistler here, and he gets like the little silver stake. I was like, ah, shit, I can't do it because he actually likes Whistler. He's his bro. He's like a father figure basically to him because he picked him off the street when he was sucking the blood, which he didn't like, and made him, kind of Blade who he is right now.
In the title sequence, also, we get a quick little synopsis of that, too. So if you haven't seen Blade or haven't seen it in a long time, you can still get what's going on with this movie without being confused by really anything.
Blade's narration at the beginning, and then all the execution of this fight scene, that's everything you need to know. You're caught up right there.
Also, this is a bit of a setup for a very end scene. So he finds a guy. Is he a vampire? I think he's a vampire, not familiar. Mm-hmm. And he basically uses him as a human shield the whole time. Yeah. And towards the end of the fight, he's like, what did he say? He said, "I'll be back for you.
I'll get you later," or something like that. Yeah, and it points at him because he's about to shoot him, but his gun is empty, like he's out of bullets. And then, he's a little bit of the meme for the movie because he keeps popping up. Like in the club when they're in the club later, he sees Blade. He's like, "Oh shit!" And he just runs away immediately.
And Blade's smile after that. It's funny.
Yeah, I love these little things they do with Blade when he notices things. He goes like, "Hey, I got you."
Yeah, one of the best. I think my favorite Blade scene might be in the club. It's the two guys talking shit about him. Like, I could fucking just shoot him right now. Talking shit, and then they aim, and the other guy points out that Blade is already aiming the gun at him. Like, he's got you. He just smiles over at him. Like, yeah, that's it. That's Blade in a nutshell right there. Like, don't even fuck with him. He's 10 steps ahead of you. You know?
Yeah.
And I really like that he understood what they didn't understand with Boba Fett. That he doesn't need to talk that much. Less is more. Blade doesn't have these big monologues. He's not fucking crying and shit.
You could say Blade was surrounded by vampires.
Oh my god.
He grew up surrounded by vampires.
he's just.
He grew up surrounded by blood.
Yeah, that's something that's really cool that they just don't capture in a lot of movies and shows now. Is that Blade? Like Brooks said, he doesn't like talk a lot, but he does a lot of facial expressions, and that tells you everything you need to know.
Yes.
Obviously, with Boba Fett with his helmet on, you can't get that, but like you can use body language.
You can. It's just more difficult. Blade, you're gonna get his smile. Everything is much more expressive. You can still do that with Boba Fett in terms of his there's so many.
Just fucking go.
Just so
honestly, go watch John's Arby and the Chief. He has no facial recognition to work with those figures, but you can still make it work even when they don't talk. It's just you can make it
barely any
figurines.
Did anyone in the voices either?
Yeah.
Anyone have trouble understanding what Vader was thinking? Like any trouble at all? You could fucking just tell from his body language, man. It's
body language.
I always
intonation,
camera angle, lighting, all the good shit.
Yeah.
I always mention Vader's Force choke scene where he chokes that guy for talking about his religion. Basically, it's not just him choking him. It's the way he walks over to him, like after, like when he decides he's gonna do it. Just the body language of him being like, "This motherfucker, I'm about to fucking strangle this dude," and it just says so much. You don't need to always see a face. It's just ridiculous, man.
Yeah, that's what you can do when you're good at your job. But oh well.
Or at least try to think around the problems you have, because like talking is like the easiest way to do it, but it's usually not the best way to do it.
Well, the problem is even if they do the talking, they make it like in the worst way possible. It's like, hey, do you remember 2 years ago when we did this thing together? That was this, and this. Like, yes, I do.
As you know.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a pretty big deal in our lives. Why would I forget?
But yeah. But yeah, obviously he brings Whistler back to their new home base, which is somewhere, I don't know where. And Scott is like, "Oh great, you didn't kill him. That's concerning." But yeah, Scott obviously is his new sidekick engineer man who builds all the things for him, and he's definitely not a spy or evil. Norman Reedus, yeah.
What totes know?
Of Death Stranding fame.
The Death Stranding man, exactly, but way younger and a pothead mechanic for Blade. Basically, he's constantly smoking weed.
So basically,
wasn't he on Walking Dead?
He's younger in this one. I think he is a pothead mechanic in real life.
Oh well, there you go.
Walking Dead was way after this.
No, I meant
later as well.
No, I thought he got like famous for Walking Dead, and then Death Stranding came out. right?
Yeah. But this was before Walking Dead, though. Quite a while before. Boondock Saints was around this time, though, and that was another.
Oh yeah, he was in that too. I forgot.
Oh, you're right.
He's one of the McManus brothers. Connor.
Good old Boondock Saints. Those movies are fun.
I don't remember almost anything about the second one other than the fact that Darla from Buffy was like the Willem Dafoe character in it. I might have been just really hammered when I watched it with my buddies one time, and I don't think I ever watched it again.
I think I watched them like twice each. I don't know, but it's been a long time too. So.
Oh, the first one I've seen a bunch. I love that movie. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
It's not perfect. Like people saying that it's like better than anything Quentin Tarantino's done, I think, are overblowing it. But it's a fun action movie. I think it's really charming.
It is. Yeah, I do quite enjoy it. I actually need to get those on Blu-rays at some point as well. My collection just keeps growing. I actually ordered the Blu-ray for all the Blade movies now. So
yeah, right on.
Unfortunately, Trinity is on there as well, but you know.
Well, I mean, have you seen Trinity, or have you?
I've seen Trinity a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
But all I remember is the little dog that does like the Reaper thing and Triple H.
Wasn't there someone who was on the Blade episode who didn't see Trinity at all? Was it Swoll? Swoll, do you see Blade?
No,
Trinity?
I've seen it. My dad's Blade movies.
I'm Mandela.
It might have been Meme.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Blade movies until now. So now I've seen two of them.
Yeah, because I remember kind of saying like, okay, you got to watch the bad one now too.
Nice.
Blade Trinity is fucking.
Scott is.
Neil makes a good point though. Jessica Biel's physique is definitely one of the reasons why it's like, tolerable to sit through.
Well,
I do remember one good scene in it. Blade getting arrested was kind of cool. Like the seeing him like have his agency taken away from him for the first time. Who gives a shit about that movie? It's like the one cool scene I remember, just seeing Blade like in handcuffs and being interrogated was like really cool because he's usually dominating, right?
Yeah, that's true. He really doesn't want to kill humans the way he kills vampires,
right?
Unless they're familiars.
Yeah, but that's he's fucking. He doesn't want to, but he'll still fucking like break their nose and escape if he has to. Like,
yeah, that's true.
He'll still fuck them up. That's what I like about Blade.
Anyway, he puts Whistler in a. Oh, what I wanted to mention about Scott, he has like he talks very off the time in these kinds of movies when they're like pothead characters. He's like he calls Blade B and Whistler W later on. It's like, hey B, why is with Whistler and stuff? It's like funny. But yeah, he puts Whistler in like a prison cage or whatever they have there, a containment cell. And he puts like heal juice in him that puts him on cold turkey. I actually didn't really understand what the fuck was going on.
I think it's Karen's cure from the first movie, right? Like that's what I got from it.
It might be. It's how he explains it is basically it's like super detox.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Where like you go on it, it fucking sucks for X amount of hours, and then if it works, you're good. If not, well, bang bang, But yeah, that's basically.
But I mean, like he's not a vampire for the rest of the movie though. So like, I mean, it does actually cure him of vampirism.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess it's implied that it doesn't always work.
Well, I mean, wasn't that kind of the deal with Karen's cure too, though? Remember, like we don't know how we can get people back that have been vampires for like a stupid amount of time. But is that not enough?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's got to be something like that. But yeah, it's like, oh, we don't know if it is. He's like, hey, if there's any Whistler inside of you, actually, if you're not fine up until the morning, those blinds go up, and then you die if it didn't work. And
yeah.
Well, it does work.
Well, you die because if you're still a vampire and the shades open up, you will.
A bad time.
You will die.
But yeah, it does work. He goes in there, he actually has the old gun with him to finish him off if he has to, but he doesn't need to use it because it did work.
It's a callback to his actual death in the first movie.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Yo. And Scott is like, you know what? I don't really trust him yet. Like, nobody finished the cold turkey after 24 hours. That's ridiculous. Blah, blah, blah. That's obviously because Scott is worried that he might get in trouble with all the stuff he's been doing. Because
it's actually,
yeah.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, like, it's kind of interesting because it comes off as Blade doesn't tell Scud everything.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise he would have told him, like, yeah, no, this is pretty effective. But no, he's like, well, no one does that. Blade just kind of like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then the next morning, he's back. He's like, okay, how long have I been gone? And Blade just says, too long. Because he asks, like, was it days, weeks, months? And he's like, too long. He's like, no, I guess it was years.
Years. That's such a good line. And it also kind of makes sense how the entire political system of the Vampire Society has entirely changed.
Yeah.
Because all of the council got destroyed, so it was like, okay, now this one faction is effectively now the monarchs of vampires, and yeah, it was good stuff.
Yes. But yeah, we immediately get like a scene between Scott and Whistler. Where it's like, what have you done to my life's work? Like, because everything is like kind of disheveled and there's cables everywhere.
Stoner kid.
He's like, oh yeah, he upgraded his rig. He has like nitro injection stuff. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that's great. And then it's gonna fall apart in 2 years. Awesome.
It's gonna burn out before your next oil change.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit. Yeah. And it's just a clash of cultures, right? I really, they play it well throughout the entire movie.
I think even more so than clash of cultures. I think because Scud, the look on his face makes him realize that Whistler's right. And I think that what that is like experience kind of matters because
generational gap
Whistler's
is kind of
probably done shit like. Well, I mean, it's the value of having the guy who's done a lot of stuff before because he's probably experimented around with all sorts of new ways to make the car faster. But said like, no, okay, we gotta also think we gotta get this thing.
Whistler knows exactly what his intentions
we need to be doing this for a long time.
Yeah, Whistler knows exactly why he would want that, but that's like, this is stupid. Like we're looking for efficiency here, kid. What are you doing? That was basically what he was saying, and it's not that Scud's stupid. It's just an experience, and then, I almost don't like that they fucking the twist with him because I liked him and Whistler's relationship.
Yeah,
I think we got more out of that. I think we got more out of that.
If Scud was our comic relief in Blade Trinity instead of Ryan Reynolds, and they just avoided the whole like trying to set up the Night Stalkers.
Never even thought of that.
Like, I honestly think that like Whistler and Scud having more movies together, I think would have been fun.
Yeah, that could have been fun.
All these years, I've never even thought of that as an option. You nailed it. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, think of how big a star Norman Reedus became, right? Like, it's like, well, you guys had a pretty good recipe there.
Yeah, and it seems like those two
bring him back because Dr. Frankenstein stitched all his parts back together.
All of them.
And then removed his bad thoughts. He doesn't want to be a vampire.
Yeah, and they seem to just work together as like a team of mechanics as well, or engineers, because they just fucking straight up built a UV flash grenade thingy.
Oh, they whip some shit together quick, man.
Yeah, very effective.
Like Iron Man making time travel overnight.
Oh god, don't remind me. Oh,
well,
I did it.
I think the idea is that
I did the time travel.
The idea there, I think, though, is that Scud does have like the raw talent. So when he's got an experienced person like Whistler to guide him, he is the one that can then come up with some new breakthroughs that Whistler might not have been capable of. And 100%. I think that it's good, man. Like it's good stuff.
There's a lot of untapped potential they wasted there.
Yeah. In any case, it's all good and dandy. They have a little back and forth, but all of a sudden, oh no, wee woo, the alarm is ringing, we're getting attacked, And I was like, oh, guess your security system failed because someone has come in here. And it's like, no one knows anything, it's really good. And then there's like two vampire assassins coming in, and we just have a really good fight between Blade and the other two. It's just another really strong action scene.
I do like that Blade doesn't panic at all. He just says, "Hit the lights." Like
hit the lights, yeah.
Whatever happens, yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, and I do though think this one is the one where the CGI is probably the most jarring.
Oh yeah, that's
one of them.
The first one too.
Woo!
I think
and it sucks because the first exchange with the swords is fun. Like you showed it in the background a little bit. I don't know if you can skip to it, but it's a really fun exchange between Blade and the chick. And then suddenly they just turn to jelly, and it's like, what's going on here? Like it's so rough to look at.
It might have been a situation where they just couldn't get the thing of choreography down in time.
Oh no,
So
no,
they
no.
CGI'd it?
They were. This was definitely stylistic choices. This was much harder than anything that they would have been able to do
Yeah.
with just
I was about to
choreography.
say.
This took
Right.
Well,
more
that-
effort and more money for sure. It was that this technique was becoming a thing, and they wanted people to start using it because it would open up a lot of options for putting superheroes on film.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, like they were, because like I said, a bunch of movies came out around the same time that had that, like, yeah, Matrix Reloaded and Spider-Man.
I wish they would really like get master the technology before they slap it into a movie like this.
And Scooby Doo.
I mean,
Well,
it'll kind of all be the thing, right? Like the first couple times they try a technique that's technology based, because practical effects have like again, the idea of doing everything practically has the strict advantage of you being able to see what is actually going to be on your final product in the viewfinder while you're filming it, you know, because it's in the camera, you're doing it in real life. Whereas CGI, you kind of have to plan these things out and put a bunch of money into them and then try them before you even start realizing what the issues are, right?
And
So,
the tracking
I don't know,
and
like,
everything, like, so just
Well-
to make it look natural. Like I think so what you said earlier, they just look super heavy.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
like,
feel like
even
they
here.
don't look like they have weight at all, really. I think it's the opposite of heavy.
It's how they move like downwards.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
If
not
you-
that they're
if you-
heavy. They move down like really. It's just unnatural, the movement.
Here, I have it
All
on,
of
Yeah,
on
if you watch,
screen right now. I just found so this is like one of the things where it's clearly like the CGI thing going on. So it was, that was the wrong button.
Yeah, this is what we're bitching about. This
So
madness.
so
Here.
we're like this is clearly some weird CGI, and then they go back
But
to
I mean,
real.
like even,
Yeah, like-
even here, I can say a few of the choices that they made, like how to light it, were probably pretty smart. Because I think if this was just a brightly lit room where they were front lit instead of backlit, this would look unbelievably bad. Like,
Yeah,
it would
they're
look
trying to hide it
horrendous.
for sure.
I mean, but yeah,
I-
but like I guess I'm trying to give like them a bit of points for at least doing their best to minimize the impact of the effect not really looking that great, you know?
I think part of it is like, I can't put my finger on it, right? But if you watch a lot of athletes, these people don't move like them. Not these people, but the CGI, right? They fail to like when they land, there's no impact, right? They land with like the heaviness, but usually when you land, you like if you have a big jump and you land, you have to
Also-
bend your knees like significantly. It's like, oh,
It's
that was
very-
a lot of
It's
force.
very clearly manually animated too.
Mhm.
Like this doesn't look like motion capture actors on wires that just have a CGI thing over top of them, right? It's very clear that these are 100% CGI beings.
Yeah. Wait 1 second.
But you know what I mean? Like the industry had to kind of learn, okay, well, maybe we can't just manually animate them. We got to find a better way to do motion because they just look too unnatural, which is why projects like Avatar then spin up to be like, okay, we're going to figure out a way to make a movie full of CG people that actually look like people.
Yeah,
Blue.
it's just kind of like you learn how to incorporate things into this kind of stuff, right? Someone has to start putting into the thing, even if it's not ready. Because like if we look at practical effects, the first ones look like dog shit, right? But as you like, you put more of them in films, and more people see it, more people have ideas, it gets more refined. And this just seems like one of those cases where it's like, okay, we have this technology, we're gonna put it in there, and maybe the next movie will be better, right? But
Yeah.
they like did a pretty good job with what they had here. There's only
Chocolate
like
syrup was often used for blood in black and white film. So when color film came out, horror filmmakers had to be like, okay, now we got to find blood that like is the color of blood also and isn't just dark gooey liquid.
yeah, and for a long time, this movie has this problem too, where like you start doing that and you have the right color, but now it's not the right consistency, right? Because I think
Yeah, exactly. And I guess like I think I would be harder on a movie looking like this in other circumstances, and I guess I'm just trying to apologize for or be the apologist for it a little bit, because I do think that a lot of this was kind of innovative and probably pushed what could be done with superhero movies and likely resulted in us having stuff like MCU and things like that, which now that used to be better news. Okay.
Used to be.
now
There
like
was a time.
they add so
I'll
much.
leave it at Iron Man. Iron Man does a lot of this kind of stuff, and it just looks way better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think from what I remember, now they ask CGI artists to do so much, but also be able to change what needs to be done without changing the time frame. It's like, yeah, we can do a lot.
That's what's making things loop around back to looking like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're asking them to do magic. Like they're asking them to just fix all their holes and like, oh, the CGI.
Well, because it's been done in those other movies before. You can do it. Just do it again. Just do the same thing you did in Blade 2, but better. You know,
the fix and post mentality is just destroying movies. It's one of the worst things that could have ever happened.
Well,
like,
I think
combining practical effects with CGI is really what where we got the most success. But now they just rely on CGI to fix all their problems.
Well, I think there's also like the issue of I don't remember where I heard this, but like at least with Disney and Marvel, they don't even like really want the CGI artists to like storyboard, right? Because when you storyboard, it's basically a rough draft, right? It's like, okay, this is what you want to happen. And then obviously you could change it before then. But now it's like, yeah, we have to get shit out really fast and stay on the schedule so we can make a bunch of money. It's like skip the storyboarding. So you skipped the first draft and you go right into making it. And then the client decides, I don't like this, change it. It's like, what the fuck? If we made the storyboard, we could have already done this and we could have just been working on it.
That's kind of what happened with the game Anthem too. It's that they'd start making the game and then a person would come in and be like, this game, it's probably not going to sell very well. So those jetpacks are fun though. Make it all about the jetpacks. And
can you make it an RTS now? I know we're doing a third-person shooter, but
Yeah.
Or when they switch the engines out, it's like, oh, we've been using Unreal Engine 4, we want 5 now, but the game is almost finished. It's just an update, right? It's just updated
it's just an update,
UEFI. Like, that's not how this works.
you just add more lighting in and on every single piece of geometry in each frame, and it's not gonna have any major impacts on performance.
It's the unfortunate reality of like a lot of corporatization of a lot of this stuff, because the people who are making a lot of these decisions don't necessarily understand what goes into these decisions, right? It's like making a game that takes a really long time. Making CGI for stuff, especially complex fight scenes, takes a really long time. We can make it look really, really good and near seamless, but they need time. Mm-hmm. But the people up top, they're like, we don't have time. We need to make money now. Because as far as I understand, a lot of this comes down to like investment, right? If I took if I took the money I put into making the CGI thing into the stock market, would I make more money or would you make more money? That's basically how it goes. So it's like you have these very strict time frames while also having people who don't understand the process tell you like, change this, change that, change this. It's like, no, we need time. We can make a fuck ton of money, but you need to calm the fuck down and let us do our jobs. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't really happen as much as it used to.
More money later doesn't help our quarterly projections now.
Yeah. That's why like Godzilla -1, for example, really benefited from the fact that the director was also a visual effects artist, because he knew exactly what it would take for all the shots and all that. And in fact, he was the one who, like, obviously the team went in and smoothed it out afterwards, but he actually designed his Godzilla in ZBrush himself, and then sent it off to the VFX people to smooth it out.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that having someone like that who has like experience in both areas, that's gonna mitigate the issue of not having enough communication between departments. Because like the last thing you're saying, like just popping up to the CGI department and asking them to basically, you can do that, right? It doesn't matter. You guys can do anything. It's CGI. It's magic, right? No, it doesn't fucking work that way. Where if they actually had some understanding of this department, it drives me nuts, because I deal with that. I'm a welder, so the lack of communication between the engineers and the welders just creates problems at my workplace all the time. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about billions, we're talking about millions and millions of dollars here. Like, how the fuck are you guys not communicating these ideas to make sure things are going over efficiently? And it's just so fucking annoying. So being able to actually be well-rounded and know everything is probably the way to do it. Like, that's why -1 was so. Is that not one of the most, like, in terms of modern movies, one of the most profitable ones in terms of having such a low budget? $12 million is incredible, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think it could be a lot bigger if they. I don't understand why it's not out on 4K in North America though. But I feel like they could be making a lot more money with that movie than they are.
Well,
reasons.
I think that's also just other costs
Can't
that
wait
they're
to
trying
rewatch
to
it.
sort out. But speaking of -1, there was a this is more games related, but I think it shows some insight into how a lot of these things work. The one of the creators of Tekken, Harada, he had a whole like tweet thread thing where he kind of explained how it worked, where like at least in Japan, right, where you are a dev at some point, and as you rise up the ladder, eventually you are removed from game development entirely to be a manager, where you're basically like Mr. Corporate guy, right? So you don't really get to affect your stuff. So what a lot of people, like devs, as they move up, they eventually just leave games so they can stay kind of low, so they can do what they like. And what the like stock markets and like the bigger, greater company does is that they put like bankers in charge of like managing the game. So that's when you have like mismatches of like people who are very good with money, very good with like time management and all these things, tell creative people how to do their jobs. And like these things don't work. Whereas if you have like someone who's like, who's been doing this for many, many years and they are still in charge of the project, they're just higher up, they can kind of be the mitigator between those, where it's like, okay, this is what we need. I have developed more management skills while also knowing all these development skills, right?
Yeah.
But when you remove that person from direct contact with the dev people, you create that issue again. And I assume that's kind of what happens with movies as well, where you have people who have been just doing this stuff for a long time, and you have people who are very good on the money side, but there's no one in the middle. Like you said, the communication problem, where without that person in the middle, you are essentially having problems trying to fix the requirements of the creative people and the financial side.
Yeah,
And
not trusting
that's
the
where you get
creative.
fuck-ups.
Not trusting the creative people is going to be a big fucking. Producers need to be able to trust the creatives. Like there needs to be. You have the money man, and you have the person who's going to have the ideas. You guys need to be on the same page. It can't just be this big disconnect, or it's just gonna. You really see that on screen, right? It's gonna be bleeding money,
absolutely.
and like trusting creatives is one of the biggest problems in modern movies. I think just the lack of faith. And we see examples of when people have like a decent amount of control and a unified vision, you get just a better product. It's very simple on that front. It's not like a
And then there's Zack Snyder.
Is there?
It's one of many problems.
Zack
but
Snyder's
it's a clear
not
one.
real. He can't hurt you.
That's not even only a problem like movie making. I mean, I can see it in my IT job all the time, and like the people from the top is like, we want the thing to happen. It's like, yeah, but there's like not enough people for anything that's happening right now. Basically, it's like, yeah, just still do it.
Well, that's a you problem, motherfucker.
Well, then it gets done in like super slow times, like super late, and then someone's like, actually, we don't need this anymore. Fucking get rid of it again. It's like, oh, cool. That's one way to waste resources, I guess.
Yeah, it happened in my job too, where like the upper hospital management, they'll be like, hey, so we need you to do all this chart prep. It's like, fucker, I see 100 patients a day. When am I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
It's like now it hasn't worked out because they haven't figured out how to make me do that. But like if they do, I don't have my day off anymore because I have to do that to prepare the entire next week. And it's like, this is absolutely unmanageable. But like, again, there's no one in the middle fighting for each side. And just to defend the producer side, while you do need to trust your creatives, the creatives kind of need to be on their shit, because sometimes you have creators who don't really have a respect for money, right? They will take a long fucking time to do the thing they need to do, and they will do all kinds of shenanigans. Like, okay, look, we have so much budget to put in this thing. Where the fuck is it? And why are you going way over budget? So it's like both sides like need to do their job, but both sides also need to respect the other side. Where like you need to respect my time and money, and the producers need to respect the crew process. And it's like it's just a big old mess that seems to get worse as time goes on.
Yeah, well, this is why I'm glad that as technology is getting better, it's getting easier and easier for create more like single creators to do more on their own, because that enables like independent filmmaking to be a lot more viable as an alternative to having to go the studio route. Because like you know, if you can just say to Hollywood, no, go fuck yourself. I can literally make this myself in my bedroom. Just give me enough weeks, and I can put this all together. Like Hollywood doesn't really have a leg to stand on. Like if you can do that at home, you know, with a few people versus like a team of 100, then all Hollywood has is like IP and star power. But you know, that's not really worth anything if all the films are shit, is all I'm saying.
Man, they can't compare to the efficiency. Like look at like news broadcast people and all the fucking people that they need the camera guy, they need all sorts of people versus some dude just with a webcam on YouTube doing the exact same thing of delaying basically telling the news, but you can't compete with the efficiency of that and like cutting out the middleman the way YouTube does.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's something
Agile
really
content.
Yeah, there's something really nice about independent work, right? Where like you don't have that overhead, but at the same time, you have a lot of issues with procrastinating, right? Like if you have like a video you want to do and you don't have someone overhead being like, hey, get your shit out. It's like, oh fuck. It's 3 years later. I haven't done the thing I said I was gonna do.
I felt that in my chest when you said that. I've been fucking like just dragging my feet through a video for like months now, and it's finally getting to like the final stages.
Of my Hades 1 section right before the show.
Oh god, yeah, I
gotta
gotta
like 2, and then I can record.
You just guilted me into making sure I'm gonna do some editing later. Fuck, I wanted to play a game, but fuck you.
Nope, not
I mean,
anymore.
that is ultimately probably the biggest issue with independence is just that like you have to be your own manager.
But it's also the best thing. Like when you're in that mode, it's I'm gonna work for 12 hours today because it's fuck it. I'm gonna take the next 2 days off.
Make it how you want to.
Yeah. One of my videos in particular, I was playing fucking Diablo 2 for like 13 hours straight. I was so hooked on it because the remaster was actually pretty proper. And I remember saying, okay, if I can't put that same 13 hours into editing, I'm never gonna be able to fucking make this shit. And that made me motivated to go and like edit all that day. So you have your times where you're motivated, you have your times, you know, where you're a little lazy. But as long as you understand that balance, that's the key. That's much better than having. That's much better than someone giving you shit because you punched in 2 minutes late. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh, those are worst.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like and that's the good thing about the technology.
Us. Thank you very much. Hello.
Hello.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, buddy. But this is the benefit of the technology getting better as well, is that it eliminates those friction points where you want to procrastinate on. So like before, you know, Adobe Premiere introduced the scene edit detection feature, like getting footage for videos and stuff was, oh my god, pulling teeth. Now I right click on the movie file, I go scene edit detection, and it's like, hello there, sir. Would you like to put all the individual shots from the film into a single folder? She's like, yes, Adobe. I would love to put all the shots from the film. Chop them up for me. Go, slave. And then it chops it up for me. And
that's why I'm stunned into silence. I'm like, what is this? What type of witchcraft are you describing right now? I'm like, what? You could do that?
How much time that would
I
save
think DaVinci Resolve has it as well, just not.
Yes.
Wait, what?
When I used to. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve has it as well. So you could just press scene edit detection, and it'll break up the film into all the detected edits.
Right, I gotta forget about this now. I'm gonna start opening up my editor, and I'm not gonna
that's kind of sick. But
trying to be professionals here.
It would be interesting to see like the rise of smaller producers again, right? Because like now we have like it's very easy to do things on your own. Not like super easy, but it's much easier than it was before.
It is possible to do. That's probably the way I want to put it. It's very possible for lots of people to do really cool things. I mean, you've seen all these things online where what comes to mind is like the Skinwalker Luke that they weirdly CGI'd to look really awful. And then someone on the internet was like, "Here, I did it in like 2 hours on my computer." That's
probably one of the best.
It's way better. It's like, oh,
that's one of the best examples you could possibly bring up because they had Disney money, and then some dude on the internet just comes up, like, "Here you go." Like that's well, I mean, because he looks so much better.
it's pretty much proof that like the Disney money is getting thrown at people who like know people, right? And it's just like, oh well, yeah, I hired my cousin. He's trying to get the visual effects editing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, he's just a dude that does deep fake stuff, I guess.
He's just normal man.
He's just not as good as that other guy.
He's just a dude.
But yeah, that's like
He's just normal
like
men.
with like independent people, you don't have the money. So like I think it'd be really interesting to have like smaller producers where like you're not throwing like billion or millions to billions of dollars. So like, hey, here's like not $100,000, like $10,000. Make this thing. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's just like me and like two other dudes. And like there's not like a bunch of like people who we have to like there's not bureaucracy, if you will. Right? It's like basically just three dudes, a funding guy and two workers. And like I assume you can make much cleaner stuff just from that because you've removed a lot of the mess of the corporatisms while also having the efficiency of that system.
I think it's
So
also
I'm curious
just
if that will
interesting
be
about
the
the
future.
what's also interesting about the whole using that much CGI thing is it like we know it can look so much better, but as we already pointed out multiple times today, people just don't get the time. So well, if you would compare it to something like in here, like in Blade, to I don't know, Quantum Mania, because that's like very excessive CGI, which looks like super fake and weird because it's like I don't know, it's just completely, it's like all shot in front of a green screen, right? And they make it like look really uncanny and fake, even though everything is CGI. Like they don't even have to blend it into like reality. You know what I mean? And they
Quantum Mania,
because they don't have the time, they can't make it look really good. Well, here they had like this really old technology that does have to blend in into something real, and it looks, well, at least compared to today, it looks okay. Like you can, it's quick enough that you can say like, oh, that was kind of weird, but anyway, we'll just move on.
Yeah, it's a much more grounded approach.
Yeah, well, with Quantum Mania, it's like, oh, this like all like super fake, and then it doesn't help that they go like from I don't know, Sandland to Quantum Weirdland to another theme. It's like a whole other thing. It's like how big or small is this actually? I mean, I guess it's super small, but it's also really big. You know what I mean? But
I think
Quantum Mania looks almost as bad as Attack of the Clones. Like that should be unacceptable with how much time and experience you guys have, and all that, how much money you have to work with.
Yeah, I found myself in an interesting argument the other day trying to argue why Attack of the Clones is in fact better than all the Disney Plus shows.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I know. Like I knew I was in the right. It was funny because I was trying to have to defend things that I find kind of dumb in Attack of the Clones.
I've been recently reminded that there's
dumb, but like even this dumb thing that I have to admit is in the movie during this argument is still not as bad as anything. Well, that's where it became easy because I could pretty much just mention anything that happens in most of Disney Plus Star Wars. And it would still be worse than whatever Attack of the Clones example I could think of.
I've been reminded today there's a character called Savage Opress in Star Wars, and it made me laugh.
Oh yeah. Oh, and man, you wouldn't believe how people react if you start saying the Clone Wars is overrated.
I've never seen it. I don't care.
Don't ever watch it. It's really bad. It's actually really bad. But yeah, it's just like
looks like shit. Like just right off the bat, like I think that has to be a big component for like whether or not you're gonna watch something. If you don't like the animation, it's really difficult.
I'll say the animation style is like once you kind of get used to it, it's not as bad as it seems.
But compare that to something like
because it's kind of offsetting looking.
Does anyone say you have to get used to Arcane's animation? Like
no, because
it's
looks
just
really
fucking
good.
It's just gorgeous. And like from the first fight scene, I was like, okay, you guys know what you're doing. This is like fantastic.
I know. I have watched all of Clone Wars, and I can say I was bothered by the animation at first, but after a while, I was just like, okay, there's some things in the show that you'll see like end up looking pretty good. I really think that Clone Wars is highly overrated. I think it's at best mediocre.
I think it's really bad.
And what I will say about the animation in Clone Wars is that the very first season was made in 2008. They were having to pioneer a whole bunch of new things to get it done on a TV sort of timeline and budget and all that, while Arcane came out way later on a streaming budget, and that was Clone Wars does get the look of Clone Wars does improve over time as that pipeline improved.
I think it does, but like I think it's just kind of ugly. Like I don't know. This might be a hot take. I think Filoni Filoni's animations are all fucking ugly. Every single one.
Filoni sucks.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
he's
like,
always
I
sucked.
Let me spice up your hot take. He's just shit.
They
So
put some
fucking
Tabasco on that
bad.
shit. A bit of chili. Spice that boy up.
Holy.
Anyway, Blade.
Yeah. God, we
Hey,
did it again, didn't we?
Do you know what Dave Filoni had nothing at all to do with?
Yeah, good.
God.
More like felony. Nice one.
Like, I just want to add real quick on the Filoni thing. I mentioned yesterday on the EFAP, it would be really cool to get a story, an alien POV in Star Wars finally. Then I'm like, oh yeah, Ahsoka. She is a fucking alien, isn't she? But no,
Yeah.
she's just a fucking orange person with a stupid hat. You don't even think alien when you think of Ahsoka.
Oh, that's
You
something
don't
we
actually
talk about
explore
like
that at all.
all the time. We
stupid.
record like, I don't know, EFAB TVs or whatever, and it's like, look at this funny alien over there. I wonder what his life is like. And it's like, oh, we can do this and this, and so many interesting things you could do. Was like, no, just talking. There's this guy
Nothing.
again, and then it's so lame.
But the fact that, like, when you think of Ahsoka, do you think alien?
No.
I think
No.
I think that is a failure. Like, when you look at Blade, you think vampire. You're not gonna forget that you will never forget the fact that Blade is a vampire. I
Oh, especially
literally
in this
forgot
movie.
Ahsoka was an alien.
The amount of times that Wesley Snipes smiles in this movie is fucking phenomenal, by the
Yeah.
way. And it's always hilarious.
yeah,
I want his teeth.
Yeah.
one is to give them to me.
Carl's just so good. Like Ron Perlman's got the laser sight on. He's like, it would be so easy to just kill him. And then Blade, like under his crossed arms, has his own laser sight right on Reinhardt's heart.
Yeah.
And then once he realizes it, Reinhardt kind of mouths "fuck you," and it goes back to Snipes, and he's just grinning, like just smiling ear to ear at the guy.
Yeah,
It's
Blade
so
And
good.
smile.
everyone in the nightclub is too high to notice.
Blade's smile is like subtle comic relief without him actually
know.
damaging his. Like, he's not damaging his mystique.
Because he only does it
you
when
know?
he does something
Yeah,
really
it's so
badass.
good.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. Because there's like trying to make Blade do puns and stuff. I'm not into that. But just that smirk is so fucking potent, man. I love
Oh
it.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, Blade does one-liners and facial expressions. That is his
Yes.
comedy, which is something that we've also lost a little bit. Like a lot of characters will do like the same comedy instead of like, you know what? Blade, he wouldn't do puns. He'd do one-liners and he'd just have always the expression when he's got you. It's like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's symptomatic of that larger problem where everything is trying to be the same when really we went over it last week. The benefit of all of this shit, the benefit of telling stories is that you don't need to tell the same one again and again and again, the same exact fucking way every single time.
Tell that to Disney.
Motherfucker.
Tell that to Disney.
tell him, meme. Go get your phone out and tell him, like, stop doing the flames.
I will right now. I will get Kevin Feige on the phone right now. Oh, where's my phone?
Yo, Kev, stop it.
Please.
Pretty, please.
I'll suck your dick.
I wouldn't do that, no.
I feel like it's old and shrivelly, but you know, you do you.
So, you know,
Look, you're just not dedicated to the cause.
Oh, I'm not. No, fucking let all that shit go. Star Wars, Marvel, it's all dead to me.
yeah.
Oh fuck! Even this guy, this lawyer dude, like he's got like 3 scenes and he's still like.
Oh yeah, I would have gone there because we go to the Vampire Scientology church now. Because after they fight, it's like, stop, we just fighting because these guys shot you first. And I just think it's like, well, you did destroy the cameras, and it probably not a great way to bring a truce with assassins and guns and stuff. Maybe do it a bit differently. It just made me laugh at the way they did it.
Overlord Damaskinos.
Yeah, Damaskinos.
This
like,
guy,
here,
Oh,
we
and
have
his
the-
daughter Nisa.
Nisa.
We should have kind of maybe highlighted a bit more because it's funny that the MCU Blade script is apparently having as much trouble as it has because they've been trying to like insert a female protagonist, like a strong female character. Whereas like Blade 2 did that, and
Yeah,
everyone
Blade
liked
1
it.
did that.
Just
Blade
did it.
fucking
They
1
just
did that.
do it.
Yeah, no, but I
Karen
mean,
from
like,
Blade 1.
The difference being that like that Nisa is like actually a superpowered vampire.
That's what I'm saying. They
person,
need her to be
right?
fighting and kicking ass, or she's oppressed. If she's not as strong as the main character, she's oppressed. When
But that's
Karen
what I mean. They
had
even
an arc
done
in Blade
exactly
1.
that better. Like I still think Nisa
thinking about
in this
priorities
is like
might
a
be a
pretty
bit
decent
skewed.
character because she matters to the story. You know, like she's got a vital connection to both Vampire Master dude, as well as Nomak.
Yeah.
I think what also,
and I liked
like,
Blade and hers. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say what also like helps Karen a lot is that like she's not afraid to fight, but like she's not good at it because that's not what she does, right?
Yeah.
When Blade hands her the gun, right? You know how to use it. She's like, no, but I'll learn because it's like obviously like shit's going down. I gotta figure this shit out.
But when she actually
like,
does
like
shoot, when she does shoot the gun, she doesn't hit anything with the shotgun at the end.
Well, one of the things for me was like her opening scene is her boyfriend. She's working with an ex, and he's obviously like overbearing on her, and she's got that little issue with those two. And the like tying that together at the end with like her seeing like a zombie version of him and defeating him herself and then escaping herself in like a realistic way. That was all I really needed from her. Like that's realistic. She's not gonna just go and like defeat the main villain. That's stupid. But give her that is a real empowerment moment.
What if she had the power of love though?
The power of love, the power of many, the second winds, like all the fucking Disney bullshit. You don't need that if you just write a real character.
Well, I mean, we know
That's
that
the
there's
power
a lot of people in
of
the industry who don't view a woman escaping from a man trying to kill her as like an empowering thing, even if it objectively is, because it's like, well, I mean, she still gets the better of him, right? He's still defeated.
She fucked him up with a bone and she escaped. Like what
the
more
thing
do you
is
want?
though, like I think like if you were ask like an Anita Sarkeesian type, they would probably think that Nisa is a much more close example of something that is the strong female character that they want to see, and it's still not that hard to do. Clearly, you just have to give her a good story. That make her matter to the hero and the villain. That's all you need to do.
I would want to hear them explain to me why Nisa is a better character than Karen just because she had more agency and ability.
I mean, I'm not trying to make that argument. I'm just saying
no. I wouldn't say I would ask.
Characters.
I'm just saying what I would ask that type of person because I found Karen way more memorable, and she wasn't as strong, or you don't need.
I mean,
that.
like I don't know. Like I mean, if it's trying to guess what Anita Sarkeesian's opinion would be, I'd imagine just anything that resembles a damsel in distress would be.
That's what I mean. I would love to take those people and test their logic. Like, if you really think that she's better, why exactly is she a better character? Like, just
last big paper I wrote in university was on feminism in slasher movies, and I was making actually every single protagonist in this movie is a female who ends up getting the better of the hero when pretty much every other male character dies. I was like, I don't understand how you guys are saying this genre is misogynistic.
Yeah,
but so that was my argument.
Because they stupid.
I'm a little fatigued with how shall we say just the discussion of like what genitals like a protagonist has. Like,
what do you mean you love genitals?
I do love genitals a lot.
I'm so sick of it. I'm with you, Meme. It's so fucking tiring because it's not only is it just like redundant to talk about it over and over again when it's irrelevant, but the amount of shit that they have to ignore to make this argument, from games to anime to movies, this to that to comics, like no, fuck right off. Fuck right off, man. It's just nobody can take this seriously.
I always remember Rag saying that like a couple of years ago on some EFAP, I think. I don't know. But it's like it's like kind of weird how when I was younger and was just doing things like I never had to talk about like gender or race or color of peoples or whatever. It's like they were just doing the thing, and now it just becomes more and more. It's like really weird.
It's like this perfect balance we found in like the 90s, and then like
somehow also forget that things like Will Smith was like the biggest action movie star in the world for a pretty long time.
How many people watched Fresh Prince that weren't black and still had fun?
Yeah,
I didn't watch it.
You get there you go, and then vice versa, and you get the perspective of a different family, and like insight into what a black family would be like potentially, and then it's just. I don't know, man. I don't know how this whole thing started.
Yeah. I think social media is obviously like a huge thing because we have like all the action stars or just movie stars just talk about everything and whatever. It's like, I'm supporting this thing and this and this and this.
Yep.
I just always find it nice when, prominent people just like normal online. just
the guy who Bong, whatever, I can't remember his name, the guy who accepted the Oscar for Parasite, he basically just said, "Thank you, I love making movies." Like, it was just
awesome.
Boom.
Oh.
That's it. Like,
it's just always so
nice person.
It's just always so lame. It's like, and I was the first ever of this thing and this and this. Like, okay, it's like it's becoming a meme now because you're just trying to find us. Oh, what first thing that they do? The first movie set under a full red moon in Texas or whatever. It's like, I don't fucking know. Like, why is this like always the thing you go for? It's just so boring when you listen to interviews when they promote their movies. Like, and the first two things they say is like, this is the first with a female lead, or this is the first with this ethnicity. It's like, okay, cool. And then they maybe kind of talk about the stories. Like, yeah, it's really interesting. Anyway, moving on. It's like, oh, that's all you have to say. That's a bit
Who do they think they're appealing to is what shocks me, man. It's just,
I think,
at this point.
I think it kind of comes down to everyone wants to be special. That's honestly all it is. It's just like everyone wants to be special. Even celebrities want to be special. And like before, you were special because of like the things you did. Like Wesley Snipes was special because he's fucking Wesley Snipes.
Right.
And it's just who he is. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's like we have to find shortcuts to be special. When in reality, the best way to be special is just to do something. Yeah. Right? Like, instead of like what you are, it's like, what do I do?
The idea that someone is special because they're black and gay is fucking retarded. Tell me, like, what type of performance they've, like, how, like, what type of range do they have as an actress? Like,
well, I don't know. Have you seen the show Batwoman?
Important to me, man.
No.
You guys remember? This might be too long now. A lot of people remember. You remember Ruby got fucking shit online because they said she wasn't gay enough to play the role. You guys remember that part of it? This is the mentality of these people. Like, in retrospect, think about it. She wasn't gay enough to play this fucking role. Like, and Batwoman is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, they said Zoe Saldana wasn't black enough to play a role. Like, it's
what
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it gets to like insane levels.
We had 3 Blade movies without him. The fact that him being black being a major part of the plot or anything, nobody cared. It wasn't.
No, it's just because he's badass and cool.
We had so many
made the actress who played his mother have to be cast as black. I suppose that's the only real effect it had.
That's it. That makes sense.
When I saw Blade when I was like young, I was like, man, this is fucking badass. I want to be Blade.
That's
it.
That's exactly it. I've loved Batman since I was like 3. Who gives a fuck what color he is?
Yeah.
It's just man, nobody cares. There's
a
million examples, man.
I think some people, like, even back then cared, but it was like a different kind of care. It was like, oh shit, look at him, he's cool and kind of like me, but it wasn't like, oh, I see my skin color. It's like, no, he's very urban like I am.
That's why I made the example like way at the start with Blade, where like Blade being black isn't why he's cool, but it's cool to have a black superhero to reference if anybody asks me like which one's my favorite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go. It's like it's the opposite. He's not cool that he's black. He's cool and he's black.
Exactly. There it is. There it is. Even T'Challa, part of the reason I fucking hate Black Panther is because they shit T'Challa in Civil War was awesome. And they deleted that entire arc, that entire character, and made him a bitch in Black Panther, getting fucking bullied and thrown off a cliff. Like, fuck that movie.
God, Wakanda Forever was also
awful. Looked way more lame in the Black Panther movie. It looked way more lame. Like, fucking...
And when I was growing...
Yeah, like fucking when I was growing up in the 90s and 2000s, but getting stuff from the 90s. Like fucking first Star Trek show I experienced, Star Trek Voyager. Who was the first Vulcan I experienced? Tuvok. Tuvok was black. And was I thinking like, wow, he's black? No, I was thinking, wow, he's all like overly logical and has pointy ears like me. Oh, cool. I relate to him. Like it's like there's so when I related to a character as a kid, it was normally like on a much more substantive like level of like, oh, you're like you have these like character traits that I really find appealing, not like, oh, you have my skin color, you're purple too.
No.
I think when I was a kid, I think I remember this correctly, I didn't really relate to a lot of characters. And that was because I was like, you know what? I don't even want to be a person. Where are the fucking dinosaurs? Where's the T-Rex?
I was kind of the same in a way. I had my dinosaur phase. I would walk around the house in T-Rex mode.
I mean, everyone did that, right? If you didn't do that, you're lying. This is how
I was 10 when Jurassic Park came out.
God damn, you're old.
That's the first movie I ever seen. First movie I ever saw in theater was Jurassic Park.
There you go.
It was like my
Nice.
introduction
Mine
to
was
the theaters.
Last Crusade for me.
I don't remember.
That's how I taught myself to make creature noises, which has brought me here to this very day. And when people ask me to do zombie sounds now, it's very easy. Very easy now. Very, very easy.
Okay.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah,
this is me on an off day.
That's when you get off on a day, maybe.
Yeah.
Actually, a random question for you, Meme. Of all the adaptations we've seen, what do you think was some of the most accurate adaptations we've seen from DC and Marvel over the years in terms of executing everything?
Oh, that's a very good question because it's a very good question because like the comics are so like there's such a broad shut the fuck up Google, you shut the fuck up, you shut the fuck up, Allah, you shut. It just went 6 a.m. Everything has gone off at once. Fuck off. Okay, thank you. Okay, adaptation. So,
Oh, that was exciting.
No, we can't play that music. No, shut the fuck up.
What the fuck is this?
Shut the fuck up.
The AI is taking over. It's Jover,
We're not
guys.
playing Cherry Bomb right now. God
Australia is a weird place, man.
Okay.
Oh god.
Anyway, having silenced the machines, so.
Oh, man, what's going on?
I'm awake now. Adaptations. So that's a very good question because I imagine because with books it's pretty easy to tell if they did it close or not. With comics, it's like, oh my god, there's like 1,000 billion comics, and like you could be faithful to one era but not another, and it's a very daunting question because there's a lot more material, I guess.
My
with
pick would
comics to look
probably
at.
be Sin City.
Yeah,
As
Sin
far as,
City's
like,
probably there.
Books that I
as much as
read that it just looked like I was reading the book, but it was actors doing it on a screen. I'd say Sin City's probably the closest.
Yeah, if we're talking about comic books as a medium, yeah, like Sin City, because they literally had Frank Miller on set as almost co-directing, and I think he even made some suggestions for changes, and then Robert Rodriguez was like, if we're gonna do the book, we're gonna do the book. Like we're gonna do this panel for panel. And I think there might have been like 1 or 2 shots that weren't in the comic that were in the movie, but I think it was like almost 1 for 1. I remember Watchmen's pretty close script-wise, and they pull a lot of shots from it. Yeah, like I think the problem with Watchmen is the devil is in the details. So like there's it's gratuitous. Like the Watchmen movie, from what I recall, was gratuitous in ways that the comic was not, which can be frustrating depending on your perspective.
It was Zack Snyder, so.
Yeah. I mean, Watchmen was pretty brutal in the book too, at least as far as I remember it. It's been a while since I've read it now, probably about 6 or 7 years.
Both are graphic. It's just more like the emphasis where like in the movie they're trying to make it a bit more cool, the violence a bit more the example I remember is that there was one scene in the comics where like it's one panel just like fucking 2 of the characters just punching their it's just they just punch a couple of guys and then head on, and then in the movie it's like slow motion bones cracking and so it's like it's stuff like that I think pissed people off with that adaptation.
I think for me it's more the change they made to the ending. I'm like, well, it's a totally different story now. Because it's not about psychological control. It's about actually averting a different threat. So, I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. In terms of like ongoing superhero stuff, like Sam Raimi, like obviously Sam Raimi Spider-Man makes a fair few changes, but in terms of like broad stroke stuff, it's pretty true until I guess from a spiritual sense. Especially because you got all the beats in there that you would want. things like that. There are
no web shooters in those movies. Like that.
Yeah,
was so
that was generally the big one people complained about. It's like
because him
why is it
having to
organic
reload
mutation?
before he falls out of the sky is one of the coolest parts of Spider-Man. Like
that said, I can appreciate the idea of saying like, well, what are the odds that the guy getting this spider power would also be smart enough to make those web shooters in a reasonable amount of time? So I don't know. I kind of let Raimi get away with that one.
Yeah, like I don't mind it too much for how it was executed. I also understand the perspective that the web shooters are kind of brilliant in the sense that it illustrates like the fact that he is the general agility and the wall crawling and the spider sense are like the power side. The web shooters are the character based power that comes from
I think that's
Peter's
way better.
smarts.
Because the entire kit of Spider-Man is incomplete without Peter's intelligence. That's what I liked about the web slingers. I even remember I don't know why I remember.
Yeah, that's a good argument too.
This idea of it was a scene where he had a stash at Aunt May's and he needed to go there to get his web slingers and he got attacked on the way there. And I'm like, that's so fucking cool. Like he needs to go to his fucking ads to get his stash. Like it's just way better than him being able to just spam them at will. It's a bit OP in the movies. But that's my one criticism.
I've seen people though actually make the argument that because of the web shooters, the Amazing Spider-Man movies are better, and I guess I just don't agree with that.
That's not are you crazy? That alone, as someone like who I just made my case for wanting them, that doesn't make those movies automatically good. Like I can't even get through those ones.
There are people who hold
like this is a case of like I would prefer
sure. I don't
web
want to call
shooters.
anyone out, but
yeah, like here's the thing, like I would prefer web shooters, but that doesn't mean web shooters make a good movie. It just means that like in an ideal world, there would be web shooters. Like there's some early like marketing material for that film that shows of some sort of web shooter on Tobey Maguire that they might have cut at some point, but someone else said that might have been like maybe an earlier cut of the film had it be that the web still came from his wrist, but he needed to create a device to like direct where they went or something, but like they just cut it out entirely. I'm not entirely sure how much truth there is. All I know is that there's a weird shot where you can see Toby with like a clear mechanical device on his wrist at one point. So I don't actually know. All I know is that James Cameron's version was going to be like this metaphor for puberty, and he was going to wake up with all this white sticky stuff coating his bed sheets, and it's like, oh no, it's everywhere. And it was going to be yeah, exactly. Let it be said that James Cameron was trying to make Spider-Man's, oh my god, I just remembered Spider-Man Rain. No. Oh
well,
god.
Luckily we don't
Who
need to
knows?
talk about this.
The Spider-Man Reign is the story where Spider-Man in an alternate future.
Blade. We need to go back to Blade. We barely made it through anything on the movie. We need to go back.
No. Radioactive semen.
No.
There we go. Okay. Anyway, there's a vampire movie, right? We're doing Twilight.
Eventually,
yeah,
we'll finish one day.
right now.
So that part in Twilight where Blade just comes up behind them in the park.
I'm pretty sure there was a meme somewhere out there, right?
Yeah.
Where were we, Metal?
Anyway, the Blade, right? The assassin people are like, hey, we got a truce. The big boy wants something.
No, we represent the ruling body of the vampire nation. You have to say it correctly, the way he says it.
I was like, okay, fine, let's do this. And on the way there in the helicopter, like, wow, I'm a bit disappointed that you just came here with us. I thought you were like super crazy and badass. And then it's like, actually, I have like a whole vest of Semtex attached to me, so if you fuck me over, I'm just gonna blow us all up.
It's like, let's keep us all honest, because I don't want to, but if you try anything funny, I will.
Yep.
I love how Scott asked him to show him, like, B, please, show him.
And they get in here, and basically the guy's like, hey, we've been fighting a lot, but we actually do need your help now, because we seemingly have a common enemy, a common threat to defeat. And it's like, this guy, we call him a Reaper. He can carry out this vampire disease, because he explains the vampirism. It's a little stroke, as always. And as like a cancer, like as a cancer kind of dealio. It's like, oh, he's like evolving, so this is like a strand we can't really control. So they're basically saying they can change the DNA over time by doing all kinds of genetic stuff. They have like a laboratory and shit. And we see later.
Yeah, they talked about viruses.
Yeah.
Right, because viruses evolve rapidly, and he was like, "Yeah, it's like virus, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And it seems like it got out of our control.
Yeah, this one got out of control, and this one actually it feeds on vampires, and it also doesn't really kill them. It makes them to reapers themselves. So he already has infected a couple of them, and we need you to help us. And Blade logically says, well, it kind of sounds like he's doing me a favor. It's like,
yeah.
Sounds like a thing.
That's such a, like, that's the first thing that would be on his mind. So I'm just happy he's willing to say those lines, you know?
Sounds good to me. I'm out of here. But then the big boy says, well, if he's done with vampires, who do you think he's going to next? To your precious humans. It's like, fine. And I also don't want to neglect the scene with the lawyer. This is one guy. Oh, he looks at his hand. He has like the sign of a familiar. And it's like, you're a human, just barely. I'm a lawyer. Really fun.
That's such a great line.
It's really fun.
Oh, I love it.
And we also learned that, hey, the last couple of years, you've already made acquaintance with Nisa and the other dude. I don't remember his name. Doesn't matter. They're basically blade hunters. They've been training these past couple of years to kill you specifically, and now I want you to lead them and kill all those Reaper peoples. And that's
also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but one of the vampires is played by Cat from Red Dwarf. Just so I don't, someone's going to crucify me if I don't mention that, and I almost shat a brick when I saw that.
So is this,
wait, who was Cat from Red Dwarf again? Hang on.
So he was Cat from Red Dwarf.
Okay. It's the cat guy, obviously. Why didn't? Yeah, of course. That's hilarious.
I was gonna say, is this a good time?
We had sharp people in that film too.
Is this a good time for me to start the conversation of what the fuck were they thinking, wasting the blood pack the way they did? Like, one of the most waste actions ever. There's so much potential with all of them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It drives me nuts every time I watch this movie.
It's actually something I was thinking of while I was watching the movie. Like, this feels actually like a third movie almost, the way they did it, because they have to. It feels like they already should have had an altercation before, like maybe in another movie where they had the fight, but they don't really kill each other because they're like, I don't know, maybe they're like having a draw, but it only beats them, or I don't know. It feels like they should be coming up later and then actually have the fight with Blade and not team up. You know what I mean? It seems like a thing that would happen way later in the cycle of the Blade universe.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Are you saying maybe some of these guys would have been in the first Blade and we've already faced off with them? And we
something like that.
Later, like, huh?
So maybe we can
like there was a movie in between.
Yeah, Reinhardt seems to have a grudge.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman.
Yeah, there's a lot of
more history, I guess.
There's so much there that could have been fleshed out, and each one of them had a unique look, and like I wanted all their stories. It's just there's so many shows and movies that go that many characters, and you get a good chunk of substance from each of them. And there's other ones that just give up, like fucking Samurai Donnie Yen's character. Fuck, I will forever be salty about that. The way he dies, like what?
Yeah, they did him dirty.
But they did half of them dirty. Pretty much, yeah. Even the first guy who okay, we'll wait till it happens. But I'm salty about the blood pack to this day.
You stopped exactly when I was blowing my nose. I was kind of hoping that someone just keeps talking here for a second. There's all of a sudden silence.
Wow.
Oh, damn it.
Someone tagged it.
Okay,
I kind of thought it was a
tag
fart.
in.
Well, I'm muted on stream, so it's fine. But it was just funny because
no, it's just funny. That perfect timing.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Exact silence. Like, oh, okay, fine.
I didn't want to blow my load on the blood pack before we get there because I got plenty to say on them. But
no, it's all good. It's all good.
Give you a grace period to blow your nose.
What scene are we on again?
Oh,
we're about to get to the funny part.
Yeah, because
before we meet the blood pack.
We cut back to them being in the base, and it's like, oh, you don't think that's like a good idea, right, Blade? It's like, oh, we're gonna go along for now.
They're probably gonna fuck us the first opportunity they get. Pretty much what he says.
Yeah. He plays long, but he assumes that they gonna fuck him the first chance they get. Exactly.
Which he's also assuming about another character that he happens to be talking to right then and there.
Wow. And
Scott also
Scott also says, "I'm worried about Whistler. No one goes cold turkey in just one night."
You would know about that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Little sussy wussy man.
Sussy Baka. The 13th.
The 13th. Damn, that's very sus.
Yeah, 13 generations of inbreeding in the Sassy Baka factories.
Yeah. Then we have another short scene where Jared just kills more vampire peeps that sells drugs, and we see the.
Why you called him Jared? Call him Nomak. He's got the badass name. You're choosing the lamest.
Jared sounds funny.
Okay, so no PC.
Jared. Nomak.
No PC.
Put some respect on his name.
No Linux. No Windows. No Android.
It's no Mac. I think this is where we see the splitting for the first time. I think was it here or later? Hang on, let me see. Actually, no. You just get like a little glimpse. You see, he has like a couple of Reapers around him, and you see like a little glimpse of the biting, but you don't see like the full effect yet.
Yeah, because
bitches.
The big reveal is in the fight when you get the fucking the big spread. Like you get the full picture there.
Yeah.
I like a big spread.
I knew it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we see Blade injecting more of his serum. And it's still painful and annoying, but it seems to work out because he got a stronger one now, so that's good. Remember from the first movie, he made Karen make some stronger potions. Potion seller. I want you. Sorry.
And I always like these scenes with Blade. I like his performances in these scenes, like the struggle. Yeah. I do like these scenes just to balance because we 90% of the time we see Blade dominating. Seeing him at his weakest is really important too in these moments.
Yeah, but now the Blood Pack is here.
Oh fuck!
And they
dun, 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 dun.
Damn it!
And we got Thanos and everyone. They're all here.
Run, Pearlman!
Run!
You all just get wasted.
But yeah,
damn it!
They're all here, and they all look kind of 80 at
some
Blade.
of them have some decent stuff.
And they all have like they look like this pair with like the big guy. He uses a hammer.
Yeah, like I thought their whole deal was cool.
They got all kinds of things, and we get some more glimpses, but they're all like, oh, we've been trained to fight you. It's like, oh, by the way, someone probably needs to explain to me the "do you blush" thing because I don't really understand what that means. To be honest, in this context.
He's black. You really didn't get that one?
Racist.
I was thinking about that. I was like, no, it must be something else.
I thought it, honestly, I was interpreting him saying like, because you're a daywalker, can you still blush? Because vampires can. I don't know. I'm not black though, so I don't know.
I was thinking because like blushing is like blood flow to the cheeks.
So we do blush. You're just not going to be able to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've heard that line unironically many times. So it's like, yeah, no, that's being racist.
No, I mean, no one said.
That's why Blade immediately tries to establish dominance here, and just like, all right, we're gonna do this, all right. And this is really important, man.
He also calls him Adolf Hitler after because.
Oh my god! Racist. I just found a paper here on black people blushing. Why does this exist?
Please don't.
Well, I mean they do, but it's just harder to tell. I guess depending on how
2 pages long.
Too. But Wesley's pretty dark.
Well, okay, there you go. I legit didn't understand that one. That was see?
I mean, maybe I didn't either. I thought
you asked and you got your answer, Metal.
Finally, I can put something new in my racist repertoire. Finally.
Finally.
That goes in the racist book. But yeah, he's just kind of now asserting dominance. Because like, oh, what you want to go? He gets like one of those silver spikes he uses, puts it over his heart. It's like, well, come, go, do it. What do you want? Like, you need permission? What are you looking at her for? Like,
yeah. Start slapping the shit out of him too.
Do it, Reinhard. Do it.
He just kind of does like thing fangs with this sticky thing. It was like it does like the noises, right? It's like, and then he slaps him in the face, and it's like and then does it again.
You know what's frustrating about this? This is their introduction, yet it's arguably one of their best scenes together, the group Blade and the Blood Pact. They needed more of these scenes. Him arguing with them, the different dynamics, him like, oh, you think you're so good? Oh, I could I wanted to see Blade have this scene with like 3 more of them and shut them down in different ways. We basically got this, and we got the scene in the nightclub, but we didn't get enough interaction between them.
Yeah, it would be cool to have
I wanted him
with each individual one, right? So it's like,
let me show you why you guys needed an entire team to attempt to take me down.
Yeah,
Let me
exactly.
explain it to you. And by the end, he earns all their respect. There's just forever salty about the Blood.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
At least the respect of a couple of them, because I don't think Reinhardt would ever respect Blade. I think he just fucking hates him.
But that's what I mean. We don't need every single one. I think I would love to see by the end that they have more respect for Blade than Reinhardt. Because look at Reinhardt now. He thinks they all got his back. But by the end, them having more respect for Blade would be really satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
To do that organically. But
yeah.
No.
But also could have done more with Donnie Yen by doing that, because he seems chill.
Yeah.
They could have connected with their, the only swordsman in the group. There could have been a line there. There's shit to work with, and I'm gonna be bitching about it for the next for the rest of this stream.
Fair enough. But yeah, he puts a little bomb on his back. It's like, well, if you just look at me weird, I'm gonna turn your head to mush, basically. That's like a little remote controlled Bombenheimers. But yeah, now he's like, look, I'm the epic guy, so you can all fuck off and follow my lead. And yeah, the dynamic between Reinhardt and Blade is actually quite fun, but as you already said, it would be nice to have more with the other ones too. It would be nice.
If only.
Yeah, that's the thing with Reinhardt in general, when he just like tries to outplay him or outshine Blade, but Blade's like always like at least one step ahead. And get like the things in the club here in a second as well. But yeah, their plan now is we go to a vampire safe house where they do all kinds of gross shit actually. There's like they feed like on humans, and they just cut people up in there like themselves. Like, yeah, we regenerate. We have like this weird fetish going on where they cut on an open wound on my back, and you can see the like all the
that
bone
shit always tripped me out.
It's
I know the
really
one scene you're
gross.
talking about where they're just digging into the back and she's just smiling.
Yeah,
like,
body
doesn't that hurt?
modification.
Yo, what's up?
Doesn't that hurt? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, I was always just like, what is happening in this scene?
Yeah. And then we get some more Whistler fun. It's like, here's all these weapons. Look at there's like flashlights with UV lights, and like when you pop up the thing, it burns them immediately, and then he pops it back on and shines the light into the one guy's face. And he's like,
the gear porn. The fucking gear porn. Like, this movie is underrated for gear porn and like mixing in the sci-fi elements.
Oh yeah.
His whole explanations there were really fun, man. Flip it open, flip it closed, UV light.
Yeah. And now Whistler's like, oh, they probably you can't go in there. It's like, but I want to. It's like, no, you're gonna take place up there and give us a little backup. So Whistler and Scott are staying outside. Scott stays in the truck. Whistler stays on top. Yes.
I really like the fact that Blade agrees. Like, they're right. Like, yeah, you should probably stay over there.
Yeah, that's probably bad news. And then they walk into that safe house fully armed, and no one gives a shit, apparently, which is always fun. This is like a thing in these movies where no one gives a shit about weapons or anything. Doesn't matter if they're vampire or humans.
Stabbing each other in there. Like, I don't think they look like improperly dressed for this club. Like, they are vampires.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they do come in through, like a secret pathway, right?
Oh no, I just mean they walk in there like fully armed. They have like weapons in their hand. Like, this one guy has like a dual barrel magazine on his M16 or whatever it is, and they just walk in. They're like, yep, that's cool. I mean, these guys here and the guards, they probably know what's up, why they're here, because like all the other ones inside, they just don't even bat an eye. It's like, yeah, they just shoot some people up here, no worries. It's kind of funny.
It would have been nice to see more people just be uncomfortable about Blade being there, because he is quite famous.
Yeah, it's true. That's actually what I was wondering. It's like, wait, what the fuck is Blade doing here? Because we established in the first movie, it's like this, like we know he is very much known, but there seem all like, yeah, no.
But we did have the one guy who runs away from him in the club.
Oh yeah, because from the beginning, it's like, oh shit.
And I'm willing to believe that there's plenty of people that know, everyone knows of Blade, but not everyone has seen him and been attacked by him.
Yeah.
So
maybe you could think like, oh, he's like surrounded by all these other guys we probably know, maybe, and they're fully armed. Maybe they're just having him under control. Whatever. It's I don't know. It's just one thing I noticed. Oh god, there's also the thing where they kiss with the razor blades in their mouth. Just thinking about that.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Cringe. Oh.
Yes, this whole scene is like, what are you doing, guys?
These guys are
like vampires.
weird.
Do you feel pain?
One guy,
They do feel pain. I think that's the
filleting
point.
fetish.
Oh, there's the fucking just cutting into the back and like.
Yeah, that. Ugh.
And
I like to
just
think that they're just so high they don't notice Blade, or like maybe there's a cosplayer of Blade that comes in every fucking other day, and it's like, oh sure, you're the Daywalker. Oh sure, man.
Yeah, that's
you
why I
and
think
50 other guys.
They probably have like cosplay Blades every night there, where it's like, oh, that one looks pretty good, you know. And the whole time I'm thinking, in the scene, it's like, what is Blade thinking? You spent a big portion of your life killing these motherfuckers, and now you're just watching them like he's just probably so disgusted throughout this whole thing. Like, you guys are like, just one moment of understanding his internal monologue would be really interesting there.
I feel like Blade's probably used to it because, like, doesn't he fuck up, like, bust up clubs pretty often?
But seeing him chill in one and like seeing them in their own element, rather than just jacking them and like seeing them turn to ash, it'd be curious to get a line. I'm just something. I want to know.
I like Blade's reaction when he realizes this is like a club. Like the door opens, is like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
They had to do that after the first movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, they had to.
Oh, there's a scene on screen now where Reinhardt is aiming at him. He's like, oh, it could be so easy right there. Let me see if I can get the smile.
The smile.
Even the way they direct it too, zooming over to Blade, like, and then just showing it's so perfect. He's got you.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro knows what he's doing.
look at him. He's like, he got you.
It's so good. It's so good. And his expression.
The
smile. Get the smile. There it is.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so fun. This could have been a great thumbnail picture as well, by the way. I just realized. I think I screen
There's probably
grabbed,
50.
I screen grabbed like 5 things. Like, those all work.
Yeah. Photogenic bastard.
Put that laser a little bit lower so it looks like it's coming from somewhere else.
From his penis.
Cheat laser.
He's got the.
Why does everyone have sunglasses at night? Like, you wouldn't be able to see shit. Like, what are you guys doing?
Well,
and then Reinhardt.
Because it was the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like, Blade gets a pass because he's Blade. The rest of you, like, are fucking. What are you doing?
Look,
fair,
they're vampires. They're very sensitive to light. Okay.
I love this shot.
Seeing is cringe.
Love this shot.
Oh yeah, they go for like the what do you call these floors with like the grates. I want to say gutter, but that's like not the thing. Also, yeah, grates, of course. It like goes to the Jareds down there.
God damn it!
The Jareds.
The Jareds.
Maybe they all just like have nuclear autism and they need the glass to not like get oversensitized by all the flashing lights.
No, they're just all really high, and that's what you do when you're really high.
They're smashed.
That's true.
Every single one of them.
But yeah, now we. So I'm gonna go for this like quite quick thing we talk about it because I really like this next action scene because there's lots of things going on, which kind of reminds me of a thing that people don't do anymore these days. So what they do basically is they know that there is probably going to be Reaper activity here, so they just kind of search around the whole area, and I think they split up in groups of 2, right? So you go like
something like that.
Yeah, 2 or 3 is whatever. It's like like 3 groups or 4 overall. Some of them are in the nightclub going around. I think Blade is just by himself for the most part.
No,
he's with Nisa. Right? Sorry.
That's the beginning.
Oh, that's later. He's later because the daylight starts and then he has to go out. Yeah, Scott and Whistler are outside. Whistler is on the roof in the rain. Scott is inside doing like the operator dealio, where he has like all the cameras they set up. Some of the Bloodpack people are just in the club. They're just looking around. One of them just takes some shots because why not? And yeah, they just at some point find Reapers, and they have like all small interactions. The club empties out. They all have fights. We got the big hammer man. I think he was called Lighthammer, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Lane and Lighthammer.
Yeah, he like kind of fucks that one guy up with like a big hammer that has like a spike in it. Some other guys get shot. Blade and Nisa encounter Nomag. So they all have like the little altercations. But what we quickly learn is these lads, they are very sturdy and have very heightened regenerative capabilities. So even if they
not a lot of weaknesses.
They establish in several different scenes how difficult they are to kill.
Exactly, like the hammer guy knocks him really hard, but he gets up and he gets bitten. And then they run. So they basically all run away. Like all the Reapers get away. They all get damaged, but they just they just regenerate and fuck off afterwards. Like Nomag
is a pretty big moment too.
Yeah, Nomag straight up gets shot in the head, and he can still regenerate. And when we have the one guy, Donnie Yen stabs one into the wall, and that one just kind of crawls up and cuts himself open, and it's like guts coming out.
Right through the.
There's some pretty great visceral.
Yeah, the body horror in this movie is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
But yeah, here Nisa gets saved for the first time by Blade. So this thing, I'm gonna bring it up now. I find their romantic thing kind of weird. It's like there's not enough here. I feel like
it's
underbaked.
I think they're just field horny because they had action together and I just want to fuck.
That do be a real thing, apparently.
I mean, yeah.
When you're just around a woman, sometimes you're like,
Yeah.
I can totally see that. I can see like Wesley. They were fucking like in real life, so that's why it comes kind of across the end screen. But it wasn't actually supposed to be anything. There was never a romance established, but like there's clearly a chemistry that you can see there.
Mm-hmm.
Some sexual tension, yeah.
Yeah.
But she does seem like someone who could, like, if Blade was gonna have a girl, like she seems like she can keep up with him. Like that's the type of woman that it could work. You know, she's fucking. Let's not ignore that. She's fucking sexy.
It would be really interesting for them to deal with the whole like she is a vampire true and true. Like she sucks people.
Nice.
I'm into it.
She can suck me all day.
Nice. But yeah, also outside, Scott is getting attacked by 4 Reapers, actually. And he just kind of fends them off, and he's like, wow, Whistler is gone. He's not even at his post. And obviously that's a red herring, because everyone's been sussy-wussy about Whistler, but I don't know, I was just not buying it.
I never bought that for a second. Like, shut up, kid. Like,
like with this movie, it's pretty much the same with the first one. Like, the twists and stuff, you don't really. I mean, it's nothing really that surprising. It's again, they do the things you know, but they do them well. And satisfying. So that's just nice. Just goes back to simple is good. You can do simple if you pull it off well. It's still entertaining.
This is what I think of when I think of just the most simple, like just action movie for action movies. Like very simple plot and just the cool factors all over the place. You know, like you don't need to think too hard for this movie. And it's part of the reason I've watched this movie like dozens and dozens and dozens of times.
Yeah,
that just like it pops on and you could be 40 minutes into it, you're just gonna finish it, you know? I've seen it that way so many times.
Yeah, these movies just flow super well too. Like you watch them, then you check the time. It's like, oh wow, it's an hour already. That's awesome.
Yep.
When we just go back and briefly to Star Wars or Disney stuff, it's like, oh, this was 30 minutes. It felt like 2 hours.
No, this was 6 episodes. It felt like fucking like 2. Like in terms of how much content we get. You have like a whole season, and we don't even know what the fuck's going on.
Well, it's funny. In terms of content, it feels like 2, but in terms of time invested, it feels like a week.
Yeah, it's so long to achieve nothing. It's crazy.
No,
because for me, like with like House of the Dragon has definitely earned this too, but Game of Thrones in its prime when I'd finish an episode, I'd be like, give me more. Like, I'll watch a 4 hour episode. Just give me 4 hours of these conversations. I don't care. I will keep watching. Just go to every fucking destination and just show me everything I didn't see within this time. I will watch it. I don't care. But with these other shows, it's just like, come on, get on with it. Like, I don't even have the patience for like the individual scenes themselves. They're so shit. Every part of it. Like, they're just not, it's like it's not made by humans. It's just pretty shocking.
Absolutely.
And I know you're sick of talking about the Acolyte, but it's part of the reason it still pops up again, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the recent one, and it suffers from the same problems and all the other shit. So it makes sense.
It is like just a distilled version of most of the things that are wrong with modern storytelling.
Yeah.
But yeah, they
kind of all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But yeah, it's there's like all kinds of action happening now. The one guy that actually gets yeeted around by a Reaper. There's like tons of fun things in here, like Blade and Nisa kind of working together. He just kind of gives her a little nod that she should do something, and then he shoots Nomad right in the face. And they had
a natural chemistry that they achieved in this scene.
He backflips backward like through the room into a like a display. It's like really fun. Some of the Bloodpack people get yeeted around in the club. We have like a fight scene with Donnie Yen, of course. He does like his little sword action. That's always fun stuff. Scott actually pins one of the Reapers into the wall with the truck. Nice. There's like a whole sploosh there as well. We obviously get like the first full shot of the sucking action of the.
Tell me more.
Of the Reapers.
Priest. He just gets.
Yeah, and that's just really fun. And then obviously we got the big Lighthammer guy who just absolutely knocks the fuck out of the guy with the spike. But as we already know, he just regenerates, and he gives him a big bite.
The Hickey of Doom.
Yeah, a little bit later, we also have Blade fighting Nomad 1v1 for the first time when it gets more light. And I think they have like
Nomad
a little...
is using the weapon that he grabs. It's just like, he just grabs some big chunk of metal and he's scrapping with it.
Yeah,
just,
and
I like how brutal and like just rough that fight is.
Yeah, it's like a good back and forth. They're very much on the same level in terms of capabilities and just power level. They're both very strong. And then we learn here. So this is what happens overall. But it's not only just action. We set up a lot of things in this like 20 minutes of what it is. We got let's see, we got Scott being attacked by Reapers while Whistler is not at his post, which is super suspicious, right? Mm-hmm. We got more attention to Whistler's part in this, with this, of course, and that he might be a spy. Obviously, he isn't, but you know, it's just they check their boxes in terms of what you want to do.
So many different things. They achieved so many different things in this scene. I know what you mean. Even character work. And
we got Nomad not instantly killing Nisa, so Blade is later like, oh, he didn't kill you immediately. That's very suspicious as well. Not only Whistler not being at his post. Priest getting killed, which makes the Bloodpack pissed because they lost one of their guys. As I said, Lighthammer was bitten, and here we set up the classic, oh, someone's getting infected, but is not admitting it and hiding the wound. So later shenanigans can happen.
Yeah.
We learn that Reapers are not vulnerable to garlic and silver and are super durable and strong. So you do have to kill them with light. There's no other way, apparently. Or just have to, I don't know, annihilate them completely. As long as there's something left over of them, they can regenerate. There's like a scene where they get rid of Priest's body mostly, but there's still one half of his head and like his eye still blinking. So there's still life in the body. And
question.
Yes.
Are we at the autopsy part yet?
No, that's after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's another thing you can do, but that is revealed in that scene.
Yes. But yeah, lots of little things that are being put in place for later. It's just so normal and simple storytelling where you set things up that you can pay off later, and you know, it's just check the boxes, and they do it during a badass action scene, and it's just good stuff. It's just good stuff. We just don't do this anymore. It's just so sad.
Efficient work, man. Like accomplishing many things at once with one scene. instead of it just being an action scene for the sake of action. Like it's progressing the character and the plot so much more.
Yeah, it's just good stuff. It just works out very well. Yeah, and actually Scott is the one who figures out that the light is like super effective because he just blasts them with light at the van, and just yells into the comms. It's like, use the light. They don't like that at all, and they basically just explode into nothingness when they get blasted with light. So they basically got none of the downsides of being a vampire kin, except the one with the light is like turned up to 1,000. Like they're super aggressively against light. Vulnerable
a little
light.
bit of UV on them for like a second or two will make them effectively explode.
Yeah. Also, just for chat, I'm going to put this here. Like this is how this looks. Like this is actually made with this part is with CGI. This looks like way better, by the way. Like just like the mouth open. And
Once
stuff.
again, like the
It's
lighting
really
and stuff, and the context in which they're showing it, I think helps it out a whole lot. And
isn't this
it's
like,
very good work also.
Isn't this like fucking disgusting and gross? And I love everything about it. It's so awesome.
It's one of my favorite things ever. It's just.
I think what helps this scene is that he is relatively like still, right? Because the CGI gets really bad when there's a lot of motion, but like when there's like a little bit of motion or it's really short, it's like it's noticeable, but it's not that noticeable. It's much less noticeable.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just good effective stuff.
These vampires also have a very advanced evolution, which is to say, their bottoms have become their middle.
I get it.
I'm sorry, I missed that joke.
They have centralized the digestion process.
Isn't that in the next scene?
They've got an anus in their chest.
That's what I guess. There's no way that's where you're going with this. Oh my goodness.
Like
That's in the next scene. We're not there yet.
Not to me.
You ruined it. You ruined the film.
You'll see soon enough.
You had it all and you blew it. Anyway, but yeah, that's what's been happening. Before we get to the autopsy scene, we get another one with the Damascus. I forget his name all the time. The big vampire lord man.
The ugly
Overlord
fucker.
Damaskinos.
That's it.
He's just kind of I don't know what he's eating actually. It's like blood jelly or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like Jello made out of blood.
Yeah.
He is old.
He's like
can't be biting necks like he used to.
And we just stir the pot even more. It's like, oh, we got one in their ranks that is spying for us. Ooh, I wonder who that could be. And then he goes into his blood pool to blood bathe, I guess. So yeah,
Blood
it's like,
pool.
oh,
I feel like it's just you just have to assume that just blood jello, blood pool. I guess that makes sense.
He's like, yeah. It's funny. I actually meant to mention this earlier when in the beginning scene they're snorting like red coke, implying they put just blood in their cocaine. It's just really fun.
It's blood and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, Whistler comes back and is like, yo, actually, there's one that didn't get away. I had a little bit of Reaper action myself. I had to leave my post. But also, there's one here. He got stuck, so we can have a look-see at these guys. And Blade's like, wow, he looks pretty fucking dead already. Like he's deteriorating fast, and they figure out like, oh, they need to feed like every couple of hours, or they're just donezo. So the peasant reapers, they have to feed a lot, otherwise they just fucking die very quickly. And yeah, now we do the autopsy scene, and this is like a really, really cool live action prop they made, and it's disgusting, it's gross, and it's fantastic. They have like, yeah, actually, let me put this on screen. This just looks so good. They split the lower lip thingy, and it's like, yeah, go look at this. It looks so gross, dude.
Ugh, I hate it.
3 tongues, or like a 3-headed tongue.
Look at that.
Kind of like this is fun.
Oh, it's so nasty. But I'm so glad they took the time to do this scene, man. Like grounding the creatures a little bit more, getting a good understanding for their anatomy.
Yeah.
Just fucking horrifying.
They have like fangs on the side here. Yeah, you can see my mouse here. Fangs here. They have like this weird tongue that latches onto you, and they tell us here in a little bit, like these fangs have like a neurotoxin in it, so it paralyzes the person who they're sucking on. And only the tongue seems to be the distributor of the, not the poison, the I know, the Reaper
Virus.
genes or whatever you want to call them.
Virus.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Gotta inject it in there. Also, they don't have jawbones.
They don't have jawbones.
No.
That's true, yeah.
I feel like the female of the species gets the better deal because I feel like that tongue probably feels better down there than that whole mandible structure
I'm tired.
digging into your old shaft. Well, I guess you wouldn't feel it because of the neurotoxin, but
Yeah, sounds like a waste to me if you ask me.
Like a butthole. The guy could get some.
I would turn the Reaper down, just flat out.
No, that's
Are
like
you sure? You
sounds
don't want
like
that tongue in your butt?
sounds like cowardice to
100%,
me.
100% sure I would turn the Reaper down.
well,
Missing
I'm
out
an
on that?
adventurous sort.
Missing
You know,
out
I
on
will
that.
try every STD at least once.
Just gotta know. But yeah, we got
How
some.
can I know about AIDS unless I get it, you know?
Yeah, it's like you have to watch a show to talk about it
yeah.
properly. So I have to get AIDS to talk about them too.
Yeah, try before you buy.
Yeah. A little bit more with Lighthammer being infected. It's like, oh, your back wounds aren't that bad. They're healing already. It's like, oh, that's probably because he's already being infected. And there's like goop coming down from the wounds. But yeah, now they just get rid of the first rib cage, I guess. And they look in. It's like, wait, there's bones in front of the heart. And I'm just gonna show this again. Because it just looks so disgusting and gross. Like, this is like such a great physical prop. Look at this fucking disgusting thing. It's like,
Yeah, it's awful and wonderful at the same time.
I'd eat it.
But yeah, there's the stomach anus, by the way, for everyone who was wondering what we were talking about. It's right there.
There it is.
I believe it's called.
Bottom is in the middle. The stainus.
The stanus.
Disgusting.
Stanus.
Want to know a fun fact? When you are developing in your mother's room, the first thing you develop is your asshole.
Based.
I'm so happy about that. And I think, you know, you produce bile from there, right?
See,
and
that
then you
just
eat
makes
it
me
again,
wonder
and
how
then
many, how much I farted inside my mother.
Probably a lot more than you think.
Wow. That was
Yeah.
a sentence.
Do babies poop in the womb? Babies don't usually poop until they've exited your womb. Then they emit a form of newborn poop called meconium. However, it's possible
yeah,
for
I know
some
what
babies to poop right before birth, where they then inhale the meconium mixed in with amniotic fluids. There you go.
Yeah, that's not a good time for the baby.
I feel sad. It's
Yeah,
like-
inhale your meconium or don't. The other
No,
one,
definitely
probably.
don't. If you can avoid it, don't.
But what if I turned it into a fine powder and snorted it on the way out as kind of a parting gift?
I mean, I can't promise what it'll do to you.
Well,
It'll
you
be
see,
fun.
that's the fun.
It's a surprise.
Given all the information you can give.
We've
Anyway,
reached the limits of your
she-
science, Mark. It is now time for mine.
Okay.
Oh no.
Cool with that.
But yeah, they also, as Swoll already pointed out, there's another way to kill them except Sunlight is stabbing their hearts. But as we just saw, there's like a big bone structure from the heart, so it's really hard to get to the heart and stab it, shoot it, whatever. So it's not a super viable option. But I wonder if that's gonna come into play later.
Yeah, in the little scene they show that there's a lot of bone up front, but like the sides have much less bone, which again is not an easy it's not an easy access point, but it's like, wonder what you could do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, easy
Side
access wouldn't
hole.
make it fun.
Yes.
Isn't that the opposite?
You don't want to dig that one too much, trust me.
Hey, you wanna work for it, you know. You want to take her to a lovely 5-course meal. You want to wine and dine that stainus.
Stanus.
See, told you, Swoll. Don't push it.
I I thought we were talking about
Go push
skirts.
the
but-
stainers.
okay.
Look, I'm talking about many things right now. Also, I'm not entirely here, but also I am. I'm here with you. We're going to get through this together. This is therapy, you and me. I'm not real, but I am real to you, Swoll. You feel me?
You made me wake up too early, Metal. Look at him. He's barely functioning.
Look, we don't control Australia.
I'm
okay?
always barely functional, so it's fine. That's just normal. That's just how we roll.
That's not even true, Metal. You don't function at all.
That's it. Fine. Whatever.
You know, we restore. We can't unleash our full power. You know, we need to hold back. It's a responsibility. Otherwise, like, you know, nuclear war or something. You know, it wouldn't be good.
Oh, I thought you just go to juvie for a month.
You know, but that is code for nuclear war started by, you know how like one of the vampires in this has like a cock cannon? You know, it's
Yes.
kind of like that, but it shoots nukes. Dook, 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 dook. And that's how the world ended, with like a cock cannon shooting nukes.
Gross.
That's
Makes
always the way I saw
sense
things
now.
going down.
See?
Nice. Also the whole Reaper body kind of works as its own system, so it doesn't even need like a, I don't know, a functioning brain or head or anything. As soon as it gets blood, it still tries to feed on it. So they kind of drip a little bit in blood in the stainers, and it goes like,
the
ooh,
stainless
exciting.
brings the whole thing back to life.
It's like when you're in the
Not
toilet
like
and you get
all the way, but
It behaves like when you're in the toilet and you get like a little Poseidon's kiss. That's how it behaves with the blood.
The fuck is that?
Oh,
know,
well, you
I
see,
think- I've never heard
if-
that term before, but I
You don't know about
immediately knew what he was
Poseidon's
talking
kiss?
about.
No.
Oh,
What is
you've
that?
never lived until you've experienced Poseidon's
Oh,
kiss.
it's when
Yeah,
you
what
it's
could
when you
it be?
it's when you
Think
take a
about
shit. No, it's just when you take a shit and it makes the water splash up to your
Flash.
butthole.
I'm like, I can, as soon as I
Oh.
figured it out just by saying.
That's
it.
what I mean. It's
God.
like it's pretty
Poseidon's kiss.
self-explanatory.
You see, that's why it's really satisfying when you have a turd that's like perfectly shaped, you know, at just the right angle, and it goes down and it
Yep.
doesn't splash at all. And it's
That's
like,
it.
ooh, yeah, that's the dopamine hit of not being splashed in the anus by poop water.
I'm very happy I got to educate people on Poseidon's kiss today. That's time well spent right there.
I think this
Sometimes
stream
my
is
poos
well
are-
worth it now.
Are so big they don't go down the toilet.
Poseidon's hook toi. That's even better. That's a good meme. Oh boy.
Oh, good times. Good times.
I don't know what that
forgot
is
what
either,
we're talking
but I'll
about.
find out later.
Oh, that's the lady with the meme.
Yeah, you must know what hot
Hook
was.
toi.
I
Spat
have
on that
no-
thing.
One of the dumbest memes that's ever become a meme. Give it like 2 more
Okay.
weeks.
I thought it was funny.
I have figured it out through context clues.
Anyway,
I was very confused.
Now that
Yeah, we should get back.
now that they did the thing, Blade has a plan. It's like, oh, we're gonna go hunt when the sun comes out, and the whole blob is like, are you crazy? We're gonna die. It's like, no, just get some protection. We're gonna go there because we're gonna go to the sewers. We're gonna go to their lair, and then we kill them all. And I was like, okay, I guess you're the boss now, so we do that. And yeah, I think Blade and Nisa have like a little scene where it's like, you just need to accept who you are, because I did a while ago and you don't, because you still use that stupid serum. Feels like a little bit of a rehash from the first one, a little bit, because we did the same thing with Karen,
Karen.
was it?
Yeah, but Karen
Yeah.
was in the other direction. I think.
Well, it's something that they also mentioned in the club before Priest got killed. Priest was the guy who was the first dude to die from the Reapers. And he was saying, look at them. Half of these fuckers aren't even purebloods. We should just kill all of them.
Oh
So,
yeah,
like,
I was actually meant to say that they just shoot down some of their vampires in the club. They don't give a shit about them.
They don't care.
Yeah, they just.
Hey,
So
Vampire
the line
races,
between
shit,
Reapers,
all.
purebloods, and actual, like bum vampires, like there's a whole tier system there. So it's cool being reminded of that.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun little world building we had in the first one as well, with like these different tiers. Exactly, you have the pure bloods, you have half bloods, then you got the familiars, and then just now the Reapers as well. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
The Crips.
It's crazy how we got all those cool concepts, and they're just like, you know what? Third one, let's just go nuts. We're doing Dracula. They go from like level 4 to like level 100, and like, come on.
Imagine what they would do today.
Yeah.
Space vampires from the quantum universe.
Well, now
that you say that.
You know, something that Blade could not deal with at all because he's just normal superpowered.
I immediately think of Jason X when you say that. You say that as a meme, but no, they did that with the fucking Friday the 13th movies. They sent Jason to space. Fuck it. It actually happened.
I feel like
there's
that's
some
only
alien
proper.
vampires in Marvel mythos, so you know. Probably do it.
Man. Fucking Marvel, dude.
There's a book called The Space Vampires by Colin Wilson. It was inspired by H.P. Lovecraft and the Cthulhu mythos. That's all I know about it.
So do we now. Nice. So yeah, that's their plan now. They have a little talksy, and now we have a little scene with Scott and Whistler. They have a little back and forth because Scott actually is trying to build some new weapons that does a lot of things against light. So they built the aforementioned UV light flashbang, and they just built this in a night, which is yeah, sure they did. I don't believe you, but okay, they did that.
Look, okay, they had the power of weed.
Oh, okay. The power of weed
Never
and Whistler.
underestimate cannabis.
Cannabis.
I never do.
I never do. So yeah, and then they built like 100 of those during the night, which is insane. But you know, we need the cool weaponry. We need something to get rid of lots of Reapers because we go into the Reaper lair, and then we get epic suit up montage. Black latex, and guns, hammers.
Actually, a good suit up scene, man. Gear up scene. Yeah, I wish we got a little bit more clarity on how they got all this shit ready so quick. Like just something. Maybe Whistler had something in storage, like prepared for this. Like I don't know, a throwaway line would have been all I needed for this. Like, but it's still a fun scene.
I think that's just the Blood Pack's gear that they have.
Well, wasn't it that Scud was working on the UV grenade and then like Whistler kind of helped him with some ideas and then he eventually figured it out?
Yeah, they did work on it together, but then they built like 100 more for today.
I feel like I don't know if I'm just misremembering. I feel like Scud did say something about it being something that he was already working on and just couldn't get working right.
Oh yeah, they make it work in this scene. You're right about that. I'm just saying they build like a lot of them in the night, which I don't think that's possible. Where's my mouse?
Yeah, Metal doesn't believe in the magic of weed, so.
Yeah, I don't believe in the magic of weed. You know what? I think that doesn't work. It's a hot take.
Yeah, like when you smoke. I'm just gonna explain it. When you smoke weed, you just get more time in the day.
Time doesn't exist. But yeah, gearing up suit, and then Meme's gonna love this. They also have pheromone thingies, and one guy sprays some Reaper Coom in his face. And you know what? I'm just gonna let you take it away. I'm sure you have something to say about that. That's
pheromones make you come.
That's
There you go.
Okay, yeah, I guess
there
that's
you go.
Okay.
There you go. For some reason I didn't have. For some reason nothing came up for that when I watched. It was just like, oh yeah. I guess they just attract the thing. I guess I was too. I had overloaded with the Spanus before, so pheromones were just kind of like, oh yeah, that's the thing. You know, it's what happens when there's something so extreme that suddenly something that normally would prick the radar does not prick my radar. You know. Emphasis on the word prick.
Because here's the thing, when I saw that happen, I instantly thought of you. I'm not even joking. Like, immediately, it's like, he's going to say something about this.
Isn't that lovely meme? You were just the sexual guy.
Yeah.
I've been wanting that for years.
Yeah, every time no, it's gone now. I thought there was something there, but my brain was just like, no, you're done with the sentence, mid-sentence. Sleep. Who needs that anyway?
Sleep is really gay.
That's a thing that exists somewhere in the world.
Then we get a little scene between Whistler and Blade, where he basically tells him, well, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. You better remember this. And you're like, uh-oh, is he sus about Whistler? No, he's basically telling him's like, yeah, it's Scott. Scott is the bad guy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if
Foreshadowing.
Whistler realizes that, but that's what we're going for, of course, when we consider the
I
rest.
feel
of the
like he
movie.
doesn't because of the way he reacts in the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, that's true.
Because it's a priceless reaction too.
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck? I thought we were friends."
I was just starting to like that guy.
Oh yeah. So we're probably gonna race through a bit of stuff here because I think we touched upon a couple of things that are happening now already, but we getting to the horror scene of the of the movie pretty much, because we're now going to the sewers, which is all dark and gross and nasty, and there's water, probably poop and cum water, everything. It's like all gross.
A lot of that's mine. I'm sorry.
Ah, god damn it, Swoll. And yeah, they split up in 2 or 3 teams or something, and they basically just sneak out the place. So their plan is, I should probably mention this, so they build like a ton of these UV bombs, and they all pile them up, put them on one timer, and their plan is find the full lair and just nuke the place with UV light. Obviously, that means the vampire blood pack has to look out because they're gonna get fucked up by that shit too. And they also specifically point out that this is on a 10-second timer. It needs like a charge up time to work. Those grenades in general. There's like some fun scene with Whistler here again, where he just switches to the proper light.
One of my favorite insults in any movie is like, some of us can't see in the dark, you fucking nipplehead. What am I supposed to do?
You fucking nipplehead, yeah.
It's so perfect. The delivery is just flawless, man.
Nipplehead
and
is
it's
a funny
true.
word.
Like, what the fuck's he supposed to do? Like, he can't see.
Yeah,
you know? But that's a really cool way of establishing the vampires can see in the dark. Like, you know, like not everyone's gonna remember all these details.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's just better exposition.
You nipplehead. The way he says
it's
it's just so funny. It's great. So funny. And that's like, here's some goggles, use those. Like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And yeah, obviously, if they have the teams, and they got they got Whistler with Reinhardt and the other guy. And obviously that's going to lead to some conflict because they're like, well, we lost one of our partners. Now Blade is going to lose one of his. And they start beating the piss out of him. But he he sneakily puts the coom out. He presses the coom button, so Reapers are going to be coming their way at some point.
I really like that scene because it does make sense that you got to remember these guys don't like Blade. They've been trying to against him. Like, they would feel this way, and this is their opportunity to get back at him. It's a smart plan, and I like that. Not only is it a smart plan, but Whistler's escape actually makes sense too. Like, both sides, like it's just a really well written scene and all around for such a small scene.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, just to add on, like, it does definitely come off like they just needed an excuse, because it doesn't seem like they really liked Preacher or they like any of each other. But it's like, yeah, one of our guys died, so I mean, that's all the reason we need to fuck with Blade.
As I said, they're gonna fuck him over the first chance they get. So Whistler gets left alone with the other guy, and Reinhardt just goes and explores more, because I think Reinhardt also has the bomb pack, right? He's gonna stop with that. And then we get the lame death of Donnie Yen.
God damn it.
Because he's like, oh, we're gonna check this out, and then Lighthammer finally turns and he just eats him. We don't even see them fight. He just gets eaten.
Yeah. Show the fight if you're gonna do him.
Yeah, that's the thing. I would have really liked to see that fight.
A fight, or at least show us how he knocks him the fuck out with a big fuck off hammer.
Also, you know,
it could have been 10 seconds.
Give Donnie Yen a good fight. Yeah, like, just let him fight back a little so that we know that the Reaper isn't just enough to automatically hard counter one of these guys, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they can put up a fight, especially because in this scene, it's not like Donnie Yen doesn't know what they're capable of, right? Like, the element of surprise is gone.
And with her, and again, so that's the first one. That's absolute bullshit when they could have did so much more. With her, I could understand her being in love with him and wanting to, like, being in shock to see him and not wanting to fight. What I don't understand is this: her just thinking and like, no, you wouldn't do. You're still a vampire. You're not gonna just go kill yourself. I would have loved to see her actually use her brain to try to escape. They just deleted these 3 characters in like the most retarded way imaginable. I hated
Well,
it.
I didn't think she was trying to escape. I thought she was trying to kill both of them because she didn't want to live without him, and she knew he was gone.
I think that's a way better interpretation of it, but I've always felt like she just panicked in that moment rather than trying to get out. But if they made it clear and explicit that if it was like an explicit sacrifice of them both, I would have rather them like make.
I think that's exactly what they're going for here.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll take that
was always clear to me personally.
Because that's exactly what I thought. I mean, it's like, oh, she realized because she's gonna live for a long time and they've been a pair.
Yeah,
so...
but don't you think that's something that works better when we actually see their relationship, the dynamic, and we're like,
it would work for all of them better, of course.
Then I wouldn't need anything. I would know exactly.
I mean, they get pretty much about as much as Drake and Vasquez do.
Oh yeah, they do.
You mean
but
nothing?
obviously, if we get
well, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think they were trying to make them fully developed characters. It was more just like, yeah, these two care about each other.
My issue with it is that they didn't need to be fully developed, but like. They could have had they could have had development with all these guys. It wouldn't have been too difficult. It would have taken away from the movie. And I think they could have did it in an organic way with most of them. We had little signs of it already. The first Blood Pack scene showed that we can do it. We just needed a few more. Like even in the MCU doesn't have that many scenes where like they have the argument scene in Avengers. One of the best scenes in the MCU is the Ultron dinner party scene where you get to see them all hanging out and try to lift Thor's hammer. You only had a couple of those scenes, yet they're super potent. They will be substantive for like decades. I mean, sorry, for so many other stories to come. You know, you can always go back and remember those moments. You don't need that many of them for them to be potent, and I think that's what I'm missing from the Blood Pack because we should remember each of them by name and personality, and like they could have did that within this movie. I think.
Okay, so these guys are all deleted now. And yeah, Blade realizes, oh, they are here. He finds like a big pile of corpses and bones and stuff. So he's like, look out, everybody. And I think he goes to Nisa because she's the closest one. And he's like, get away from me. I'm going to get rid of these guys because there's like 10 or so inside the water. And he kind of just takes stands while he waits for the for the UV bomb or the UV grenade to go off. And does like some cool poses because he's played, you know. He goes like, "Oh, I do the thing," and then they just all jump out and he cuts them while they get UV lighted. It just looks kind of cool. In the meantime, Reinhardt found like the bigger nest as well, and he's trying to turn on the big box, but it's the lever is stuck, so he can't get it down, and now he has to abandon it because he's about to get attacked by a bunch of them. And also Blade tells them to regroup because there's too many now. Whistler
again
gets...
with this scene, another thing. Imagine how different this scene would be if they were actually a team. You know, it just highlights the disconnect with all of them. It all just falls apart as soon as they go down there.
Yeah, they're getting fucked up. Whistler's now getting quote unquote saved by the Reapers because he sprayed the Coom around. And the guy's like, oh, what's that gonna do? And then he gets eaten by Reapers, which is kind of funny. And now the full swing of Reaper action is coming around. There's lots of them. They're getting attacked left and right. They're running away, trying to get away. All the good stuff. Everyone gets a little bit in the pickle. Reinhardt shoots a couple of them down. And they all regroup somewhere in the middle. And he's like, give me the rest of the fucking Reaper Coom. I'm going to pour it all over me and lead them to the big bomb. So that's what he does. He gets them all to the big bomb. First he gets rid of a couple of ones around him with a UV light. And he's like, now I'm going to show you who you're fucking with. This does like the big Blade badass move. And yeah, he fights his way to the big explodey UV box. And he just holds out for 10 seconds. He does like a lot of shooting with like dual wielding pistol. It goes like pew, 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 pew. It just looks really cool. It's just a fun action scene. Again, it just looks really good. And then it all blows up and all the Reapers are donezo. And we're like, hooray, we did it. We saved the universe. But then, oh no, the we're gonna fuck you over squad is coming in because, surprise, surprise, it's all been a big trap right after the work has been done. And yeah, they get taken to the big boss vampire hideaway, where we start to set up for a big bad boss fight in the end. But before we go there, we get a little scene with Whistler and Nomak, because Nomak is like, "Here, do you see this ring?" And if you're a smart watcher, you realized, oh wait, that's the same ring that Nisa has. And it's like, uh-oh, he's the son of the big Demaskiro Flim Flam. I don't know why I can't remember his name all the time. And yeah. So yeah, he has that info now, but they all get captured. Also, Nisa gets to suck Blade's blood. I got you there almost, right?
Oh my.
Yeah, because we need another sucking scene, and it's more tame than the first one. She's doing like normally, not like Blade. The first one goes like,
yeah, the untamed one comes later.
Blade with a fucking massive boner in the first one.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
sucking back the blood. Like, what was that?
I love sucking Karens. What? And then we have to take. We still do. It feels like a little bit like a meme because Blade gets tased right after he saves Nisa, which is the second time.
Me, bro.
The second time he saves her, which obviously makes Nisa sad because she knows what's gonna happen. But yeah, the big surprise squad is here, and they all get taken to the big hideaway, where we go into the last section, the last big section of the movie. But yeah, again, just a very solid action scene that just pays off a lot of things we've set up already with the characters, the little stuff. So yeah, it's kind of
I think you highlighted in both action scenes that they achieve things. It's not just action for action. Like, it's an efficient movie while being well paced too.
And the action also looks good. You can. I hate that I always have to point out these days when I talk about any action that's like somewhat okay. It's like, I can see what's happening in this action scene. Isn't that great? It's like, no, this shouldn't be normal actually, but I guess it's great now.
Imagine if fucking Deborah Chow from Kenobi filmed this scene. The whole thing would be shaky.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to see anything. Like, the bitch was shaking the camera during a fucking conversation with Reva and Kenobi. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, she just, I know what you mean, man. It's a lost platform.
It's other
buy
things
these people a tripod.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just buy a fucking tripod.
It's so weird these days when you talk about a movie that's good, and it's like, oh, I have to point out and praise that these two characters talk like normal persons to normal people to each other. It's like, oh, they not just read the script at each other; they actually talk to each other in character. Like, there's so much shit dialogue out there these days. It's uncanny.
That's why the accolade, for people who don't know what exposition is, it's not going to jump out to them as drastically. But if you understand it and how enjoyable it could be when it's done smoothly, and you see the accolade, how could you not look at that and think it's just first draft? Like, have no understanding of storytelling. It's so incredibly basic. It's just frustrating to watch.
Yeah, but it makes me want to, like, it does make me want to go back to basics, and like, before I even make any like proper critique videos, I almost just want to make a video highlighting what are the actual standards for good writing. What is good writing? What is, what is the standard here that we're going by? Because I think, often like conversations about writing tend to be a non-starter because both people are working on completely separate definitions of the fact, and God forbid you go into a writing room and when one person is looking for internal consistency, the other person is only really concerned about message and all
it's
that.
frustrating.
Yeah,
you don't really know. You don't get the things established. You don't have your baseline established. It's really important to be able to do that.
Exactly. It's communication skills. Where did they go?
Yeah, it's huge. It's part of the reason, like, one of the formats I do with my videos is scene comparisons. Is because if I take two similar scenes, break down exactly why one is well written, then I've established my baseline, my criteria for certain things. Now let's transition over to the other scene and see exactly the opposite. What's wrong with that? Two very similar scenes, but you can have an understanding, and it's like it's a praise and a rage in one. So you get at least very clear for people who don't always understand those type of things, because we all love stories, but not everyone is going to be able to break down stories, and that's where we come in, because it's just so frustrating when you don't have a baseline for things.
Exactly, and I think there's a huge benefit in that as well, because when like there's so much, obviously we love talking about like when things fuck up because it can be quite interesting, but I think it's very important to highlight when something goes right as well, because I often think about like the average viewer who might just be getting into like thinking about writing and what is good, what is bad, and you know, if they only have examples of what not to do, and they try to write something themselves, like I often think like, fuck, they might actually just get a panic attack in the middle of it, because all that they can think is the things they're not meant to do and not like what they can do. You know what I mean?
That's why I think in comparisons are important, and very like vastly different comparisons, like different genres, but storytelling is still storytelling. Like one of my favorite comparisons I made wasn't even in a comparison video. It was breaking down the exposition in a scene from Rocky 2 and comparing it to Boba Fett, which are two completely different properties, but exposition's exposition, right? And when it's done correctly, it's so fucking enjoyable. And it just drives me nuts seeing shows like vast majority of the Disney shows don't understand exposition. Like even Aragorn's introduction in the Fellowship, just like saying, "Oh, that man's been staring at you since we came in," and like he's one of them Rangers. Just his short little summary, and that's all. That's all we need. Like, there's a reason for them to give us that backstory and like a little breakdown of it. But then it just makes his mystique so much more appealing. It just takes 2 seconds. And Disney can't even do a scene as simple as that. You know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it really is like that's the thing. Like they can't even bring it up to like a 5 out of 10 a lot of the time. Where like, okay, maybe like you know, world building. Like my scale is like you get 5 points for character, 3 points for story, 2 points for world building, and that tends to be, if I'm going to give like an out of 10 rating, that might be how I go. When you kind of get up to 5, meaning that the characters are probably fine. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Like very basic cause and effect stuff, very basic consistency of character just doesn't seem to exist at the moment.
People will follow a story where they're not even really sure what's going on in the plot. They don't understand or appreciate the world building, but they like the characters, so they'll follow it. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, so
exactly. And you can recover way more with stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes. Wait, where were we? Oh yeah, they just got taken into captivity, and now we got all them twisteroonies. Oh boy, it's like a twister-nado or something. Puns, the fun. But yeah, they get taken in, and Whistler Space like, well, how do you explain this ring then? Yeah, he told me he let me go with this information, and I should tell you. And I like how the vampire guy is like, oh, I thought it was obvious. Like, yeah, he's like I gave that to him because he's one of my sons.
Yeah, he really just acts like, yeah, and
it's like, It's like, oh yeah, that's actually, I can put that back in my collection for another son. Actually, give me that.
Ooh.
But yeah, it's like, oh no, the Reapers, they didn't evolve badly. They were made. It's just one of the things he had to experiment on. So the Reapers were made.
Vampire eugenics.
Yeah, they've been fucking with DNA to get rid of all the vampire weaknesses, so they can become daywalkers themselves.
That just destroys Lisa's character. I mean, she was a fucking idiot like her whole life. Like she didn't like this would have had to happen. She did not know any of this whatsoever.
Sucks. Like the vampires do hide a lot of stuff from lots of people, so I can kind of buy the father not like letting her Lisa know about the.
No, I buy it. I just mean she was manipulated and lied to. Like, this guy's a terrible father.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's an evil vampire, like overlord guy.
And then we also get, oh no, Scott is a baddie, no. And then we get like a really fun scene. And it's like, sorry, B, that's actually a dud. I've been the spy all along.
I've been annoyed by the scene forever.
Yeah, I've been onto you since they turned you, And
that's the line that I've still not ever understood. Because is Scud a vampire at this point?
He's
I think in this case
like,
it doesn't mean turned in a way like he's turned into vampire, but turned to their side. I think is
no, but that
must be what he means.
That, like,
yeah.
I always was on their side. Like I made it so that they could come in with the security system and like you know what I mean? Like they kind of reveal that Scud has just always been a plant, and wasn't ever anything other than a familiar who infiltrated Blade.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is he clicks the bomb and it doesn't fucking work. And then he says it's not a dud and then it works. What the fuck was that?
I assume there's two. I assume there's like two buttons, or it's a second.
He literally goes and says, "Okay, you're dead." He goes to click it, clicks it again, like it's not working. It doesn't make any sense. And then he says one more thing: "It's not a dud." Clicks it again, and suddenly it works. It makes no sense whatsoever. Like even on first watch, watching this, like I was like, that is fucking stupid. Like, how the hell are you gonna? He tries to click the button. It's not. It'd be different if there was like some type of explanation for it, but he just says it's not a dud, and suddenly it works.
Is it the same button, or does he pull out a different remote?
I don't think we get a good view of it, of how many buttons are on there.
I've seen this a
million
million times.
Hiding that they didn't take it off him.
It's not even the fact that you need to see the amount of buttons. It's you see the expression of his face of click, 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 like he's clearly trying to blow him up, and then suddenly he can't, and then suddenly he can. Like I have no idea what happens in the theme. Like I was hoping.
I guess the thing is, even if he had two buttons, I guess he must have expected him to just take the bomb in his hand so he can blow him up for some reason.
What if it was a range thing? That'd be really silly.
Oh, they're not.
I feel like
they're not far away. They're like right next to each other.
I don't know. I'm sure there was something that explained it, and it just didn't make it to the film because it didn't seem like they would just forget. It might have just been not forget. It didn't seem like something they would just screw up. It might have just been something that didn't make it into the actual film.
Which means they screwed up.
That's you know what.
No, it's a complete screw up. It goes from he tries to use it, and a second later he tries to use it again, and it works. There's nothing. There's like nothing in between there. Like I'm hoping for something I missed, but like I've seen this scene so many times and it bothers me every single time. But it's like fuck it, we want to fight.
Yeah, I don't think they ever do make it clear. I just assume that like Blade specifically used the button that didn't work because he wanted Scud to like say all his.
Like, it doesn't line up. Confess. He basically says, like, he doesn't say it, but pretty much goes, "Fuck you, you're dead," and goes to click it. And we get the shot of him being like, you know, click, click. Like he's trying to blow him up.
Yeah, I know. I'm agreeing with you. I guess I'm just saying I always like it is a bit of a problem. I'm just saying I was kind of interpreted it as it's probably just a different button on the remote, or he has a different remote. Jojo.
I think ideally what you would want is that it just didn't work, and then like he like tinkered with it for a second and it worked, right? Because if
but,
I didn't get that from
but here's the thing: it doesn't even matter if it's like two buttons, because then he must have had to predict that he takes it in his hand to blow him up specifically, because Reinhardt could have just taken it off and just throw it away, and then what? Then you could have maybe used it later to throw it away and then use it. But then
he threatens with it. He threatens Reinhardt with it in the club. He like presses the button and goes on. Like Blade knows how to use this thing. Like it's a botched scene. There's like no way to really like.
Yeah, it's a cock up in one way or another. I think it's still very fun though. I'll give it that.
That's what I'm saying. It's another one of those things. Like Whistler coming back. Oh, that makes no sense. But fuck it, I like him. The bomb being a dud and suddenly not. Oh, that makes no sense. But fuck it, I want to see Blade fuck up the SWAT team. Let's go.
The way the guy explodes as well. It's like looks at the bombs like, oh well, and he's just like just a sea of blood everywhere.
I was kind of thought his reaction was kind of funny because it seemed like he was just like, shit, he beat me.
Yeah.
And he kind of just accepts it when he dies. He doesn't like freak out or anything or panic. He's just like, oh fuck.
And then Whistler saying, oh, we're just starting to like him.
Yeah, I do like that line.
Starting to like.
The other thing
back to what I was saying earlier of not only do I think Scud and Whistler were good together, and we could have got more and maybe going into play Trinity like you said, but his death here, it's botched. Like you literally cheated to kill him, which is like extra frustrating when he was a fun character. He was way more fun. We got more out of him being on the team than we got out of this twist. It's such a lukewarm twist to me.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I'm trying to think of like how this could have happened, like the error, and I don't know. I feel like
the best I can think is that he might have intentionally not detonated to bait him into fully confirming that he's the rat, and then I don't know.
That's what I got from it. I thought that Blade was messing with him the entire time.
All of that would work if we didn't have that would work if we didn't have the explicit shot of him going beep, beep, like he tries to, like you see the surprise on Blade's face.
I mean, he trying to make them like buy his ruse, right?
I don't know. Yeah, is there any other time you see Blade acting and bluffing like that? He doesn't strike me as a bluffer.
I guess like that would be like if you were to not change the scene at all, that would be what you would want to go for. But I mean, obviously, like Blade lies in the first one like multiple times. He seems like he would do that. I just don't think that's what happened. I think it's just like, I don't know. I think something happened on scene. Maybe it was an improvised scene where they're like, oh yeah, this works, but like it doesn't. Because like I assume they always had the twist in mind, but then like maybe while they were filming, they thought it would have been more bombastic if this guy has the bomb and Blade blows him up instead of whatever they were thinking.
I think either way, we all agree that could have been done better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story is
keep moving on from there.
Yeah, they definitely could have improved it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, but they also now they need Blade's blood so they can make better DNA stuff, so they can figure out how his blood looks and what makes it that he can walk in daylight. And they have this nice contraption that I put on screen, which is very normal and not crazy at all by those vampires. Because instead of strapping someone down, they just fucking spike him from below and put hooks on it.
Shit's awful. Just awful.
These vampires are, they're a kinky sort.
Yeah, so they just put hooks through his arms and legs, I think, and then they start sucking him dry. And it's nasty. It's another just nasty scene. Just spikes through and there's blood everywhere. In the meantime, Whistler is about to get beat up more by Reinhardt. Because Reinhardt is a freaky man. What else? Nisa is like, Daddy, why did you lie to me?
Dad, you're a meanie.
Yeah, it's basically. Like, Blade is an honorable man. He saved me twice and you still fuck him over. I like him, actually. I'm horny.
That peen, Dad.
I think Blade shit talks the lawyer guy a little bit while he's getting souped dry. Nomak is actually making his Nomak is making his way into the facility. He's just fucking people up left and right. Obviously, he's very resilient against everything they do.
He's super awesome in this scene.
He's just tanking everything. I could have taken like a longer version of that scene.
He's tanking shit, throwing people around. That's kind of fun.
We didn't actually talk about Nomak throughout this whole thing. Like, what do you guys think of him just as a villain? Like, even a little piece of story that we got from him, just his portrayal.
I think he's awesome. We didn't
really touch on him.
He's a great villain. I think there's a really good, like, oh man, he is kind of a victim in all this, while at the same time he's such a threat that he absolutely cannot live.
Yeah,
I think they did a really good job with this villain.
In terms of his
he's very well rounded
in
that way, yeah.
I think if with a better script, he could have been one of the most like iconic villains. He could have been someone that's much more memorable. That's the one thing this trilogy is missing. Like, none of the villains have like a legacy.
Oh, really? I find most people will know who Deacon Frost and Nomak are when you like talk about comic book movies.
Yeah, but how much can you really say about them? Like, we can talk about Vader for an hour. Like, how much can we say about Nomak? when I think he could have been much more fleshed out.
I think that's a much different type of villain, though. Like, you're talking about a guy who has a lot of backstory and lore, and these are villains that are very comic book villains that kind of have the basics of what you might be able to infer about them.
Okay, I'll go even easier. Thanos in Infinity War, my introduction to Thanos, and I hadn't even seen any other MCU movie other than the Avengers. I skipped right from Avengers to Infinity War, and he still carried the movie for me. You don't need, you can do it in one shot. Like, I'm a big, even a cameo or a side character, I think writing can overcome any of that shit, And Nomak deserved more. He definitely Nomak, the Blood Pack, and for a movie I love so much, it's like it still could have been even better,
So Nomak has a bit of a feast here. He just fucked up a lot of soldiers. Look at the pile of bodies there.
Making some Nomak mac and cheese. Oh.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna poop him out of Stannis.
Oh yeah, everything goes in, everything goes out.
Oh,
Stop shopping.
But yeah, now we're just kind of fast tracking to things here. Whistler gets away from Reinhardt, knocks him out, and escapes through a little hatch. Goes to Blade. Blade is like, I need blood, because obviously we need a supercharged Blade for the final battle, because that's how that works. Novak just kills more people.
As he should.
Vampire, Nisa and Daddy-O are trying to get away. Reinhardt is still around here. He's trying to shoot the guys up there. There's a blood pool where they got captured earlier, so Blade just yeets himself in there.
They had to use that again.
Oh yeah. He just yeets in there and just goes up, and then this is where you see the thumbnail picture, actually. That's where it's from. He gets out of the pool of blood badassily.
Everything he does.
Oh, yeah. And then he fucks up a whole bunch of soldiers, and it's really fun. He just fucking kills everyone.
It ends with a fucking suplex.
He ends with a fucking vertical suplex. And then he pops up really quickly, which just looks really funny.
It's so funny, yeah. The pop back up.
I feel like it comes off like he was trying to do a kip up and they couldn't get it right. So, like, you know what? We'll just cut it.
Right.
We know you can do it, Wesley.
That might be it. Wesley, we only have so much time. Come on, we know. And they just cut to it.
But yeah, he's like super proud now. He just knocks them all out. He even takes one of these stun batons that they have and just fucking knocks it into one guy's visor, into his face. That's kind of fun. Yeah, again, a really solid action scene with a really fun choreography and everything. I mean, we talked extensively about Wesley Snipes' action scenes and stuff, and how he's like a martial artist himself, so he can do the moves himself and just looks really good. Where he holds himself, all that good stuff. It's in here as well. It's just very nice, very good.
We can have another tangent if you want.
No, it's fine. Just go watch the other one. The other thing. There's like an hour of talking about choreography and stuff. It was very interesting. Go check it out if you haven't. Also, yeah, here's the here's the vertical suplex. He goes like back, bam, and then whoop.
Oh, it's so funny.
It looks really funny. It's good stuff. But yeah, really fun action scene again. And Reinhardt takes his blade, tries to stab him, but he does the anime catch the blade of the sword with his hands thing.
That's an actual technique, right?
Is it?
Yeah. I would never fucking try that shit. But yeah, it is an actual technique.
That's crazy. But yeah,
it's kind of like running across hot coals. You can definitely do it.
Interesting. Well, I didn't know that was a thing you can actually do. Probably not that easy. I wouldn't try it for myself for self-defense, I'll be honest.
Oh, fuck that. Because if you miss, you die. So...
Yeah, you can probably fuck up your hands somewhat, even if you're really good.
It's a last resort option, clearly.
But yeah, Reinhardt gets the sword taken away. Blade gets his blade back, if you will, and he just cuts him in half from the vertically from the bottom to the top, and just cuts in half and starts vanishing, and it's really fun. It's just another good scene. And then Whistler's like, "Hey kid," he's like, "Huh?" He just throws him his glasses from across the room.
Perfect catch too.
Perfect catch without looking. It's like, yeah. Oh, it's just fun stuff. Whistler then shoots the DNA samples, so that's donezo. What's next? Oh yeah, Nomad gets to his dad, and he just fucking kills him. He sukes him dry, but he doesn't turn him. He's like, "No, I'm actually didn't give you any of the genes. You're just gonna die," and he dies in a puddle of green goop.
Yeah, fuck him.
And then Nisa's like, "Hey, brother, close the circle," and then he turns her. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't quite understand what's happening here. Why did he turn her, not kill her or whatever? Or what was her idea? Maybe I was not paying attention, but it's just kind of lost on me. Why she said
I know
that.
her idea. Her idea was to get killed by him.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know why he turned her though. The second half of that doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, I didn't quite follow.
Yeah, I never got a sense of the drama between them, like the siblings. Just another thing it's kind of missing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't know that he was a sibling up until now, so.
No, I know, but
yeah.
I get the sense that he knew, so I would like to know what his thoughts are. Is it just pure jealousy? Or is it like there's a story there? It's a shame.
I mean, he said she was always his favorite, right? So yeah, there is something there.
Saying. Is that all we have to work with? Is jealousy? It'd be nice to get a little bit more out of those two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just weird that he decided to turn her when I thought the goal was to kill them. But you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't quite sure about that one. Someone chat says maybe it was just out of spite. Maybe.
Wasn't his suck interrupted by Blade? So maybe he intended to go through with it, and then.
Well, apparently he can decide when he does the killing suck or the dead suck, because he did the death suck on the dad. Because apparently he can control when he puts in the genes or not.
Yeah, okay, that's true. I guess the only other thing that I could bring up is maybe she. But why would he choose to go slower on her than the dad?
I don't know.
When the dad would be, that doesn't even work from a character perspective.
That's why I think that part, like, it's probably one of the most rushed parts of the movie. Is this whole scene is like, like, not understanding the family dynamic and at least his real goals in that moment damages the ending. Because we're all there just like raising eyebrows until Blade shows up and like, all right, we're getting a boss fight.
Yeah.
Because everything in between is like, what? So definitely the weakest part of the film for me is the ending. Because I just feel like there's so much more that needs to be achieved here.
Yeah. And you already mentioned it. We got our big boss fight with Nomak and Blade. And it's just a nice, punchy, big boss battle.
A legit wrestling match. They tried to make this one like a real brawl.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because they're both super powered now, and they just kind of yeet each other around. There's also a lot of the CGI stuff in here.
I think they look a lot better.
They look better,
way better.
Probably because of the lighting, because it's kind of dark and.
Yeah, I think it works way better than the backlighting.
You can still tell, but I think it looks quite a bit better here than in the other fight.
I don't know. I don't know.
Definitely better than the first fight. I don't even think there's a competition. Like just in terms of not looking like plastic for that whole section, like the Blade versus Nisa fight.
Yeah,
it's not perfect, but it's way better than that one.
I guess I'm thinking of it like, just in like scene to scene, but yeah, overall because like the moments are much shorter, it looks better because they used the CGI
here
for
they're cutting back to live action much more quickly. So your disbelief only really needs to be suspended by the CGI for like a second or two here, whereas there's like some 3-4 second shots in the first fight.
Yeah.
I wonder, I'd be curious if like during this Because like you know how with like fighting games, characters usually get more interesting as like they go on because you're learning new ideas and techniques. I wonder like if they did the earlier scene and then by the time they got to this one, they're like, it would be better if we
yeah.
mixed them
100%.
together.
Right.
But obviously you can't go back to fix the old scenes. I mean, you could, but
well, reshoots can be very dependent on budget.
yeah.
Now it seems like they're super common because every movie is a fucking trash fire, even when it's reshot and edited.
Have a script ready beforehand, boys and girls.
No,
please.
That's ridiculous. Stop
Please.
it.
Ew.
We fix it in
Planning
post.
ahead? That's cringe.
Yeah, cringe.
But I want good things.
I want my CGI vomit on screen. Give it to me. I need it to look as bad as possible because we only give them an hour to work on it or something.
Make the
We have
CGI
CGI
artists
home.
bleed.
But yeah, I'm just having the fight running in the background. It's just a satisfying fight. Like it's like a really good back and forth, and you can tell they're like out of breath sometimes and have like a little pause. It's like, oh man, I miss this kind of like normal super powered fight, you know? Like you have like
It's grounded. You can actually follow.
You have two super powered beings. They can yeet each other around a bit. They can bend metal when they get kicked into it or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's kind of cool. And not like, I'm going to shoot my super mega laser at you and then turn you into quantum physics stuff or whatever. It's just, yeah, it's just nice. But yeah, it's a back and forth. They do like arm bars and judo throws and whatnot. And yeah, the most powerful things they do is basically just jump really high, so they get more like more punch to their kicks or whatever. More punch to their kicks. That's the sentence.
Those were words you just said. Yes,
that's definitely words that I've said before. But yeah, it all culminates with with Blade's sword that is broken. He takes the blade part of it from the floor and stabs it into that side pocket where the heart is. And this is how he finishes him. And actually, Nomak realizes he lost that fight, and I guess because he doesn't want to like die very slowly, he like gives it the last push himself, right?
Something like that.
Or is it more of a thing like, oh man, finally I don't feel pain or whatever? He says a line. Yeah. What was it?
Putting them out of the misery is that I got from that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Just he's been in torture his whole life, and like this is finally the moment. This is it. Fuck it. That's the vibe I got from it. And yeah, I just even with his ending, it's like that's a dramatic ending for a character that deserved more flesh and substance, man. I feel justice for Nomak as a real thing. Everything about his scenes.
I was never really disappointed with how Nomak was in this movie though. Like I guess like it would have been cool to have more, but I didn't think that he was poorly done or anything like that.
I would never call him a bad villain. My issue with it is I think he was like so close to being a great one. You know what I mean? Like he was right there. Let's push him over that edge, and like he's yeah. I think he was a missed opportunity. Still, he's really entertaining, but still a missed opportunity in some ways. Could have been so much more.
I guess, like, considering what happened with Blade Trinity, it's a miracle we got this script and David Goyer.
Yeah. He's a million times better than Dracula in the third one. That just sucked.
I barely remember the third one. I'm going to be curious to watch that again at some point.
Yeah, I barely remember it, too.
I think Goyer should stick to very simple scripts, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, now the big Nomak guy, he's defeated, and again the vampire boss is dead as well, so that's good. And we got like a finishing scene where he says like, I want to die as a vampire, I want to see the sun, and then they go outside and she explodes in the sun because they're horny or whatever.
Yeah, it's a very bloody, barbaric ending, and I feel it cut off a lot of the threads, so you weren't really sure what Blade Trinity was going to do. And I think it's part of the reason they went so experimental with Ryan Reynolds and all that shit.
Right.
Because, like, what are you really going to do after Blade 2? Like, everything's kind of just, you know?
Is Whistler even in Trinity? I didn't remember him in that one.
He's in briefly, he dies, and we get introduced to his daughter, Jessica Biel.
Oh, okay. Right. But yeah, that's the we defeated the bad guy. But we have one one little fun scene before the credits hit. Because remember the vampire he didn't kill and told he's gonna be back for later? That's our ending scene.
You didn't think I forgot about you.
He's like going into a little like a peep show thing or whatever they're called. Dude, like they put like the coins in the thing and then the door opens and you can see the stripper lady.
And he's planning on killing
and
her
everything.
too. That's the detail. He's got his razor, he's got his tissues. He's not just there to watch.
He puts the razors down there just in case. He's like really excited to have a good time.
He's ready to party, man. That's why it's so fun. Like you just catch him in his element and Blade. Like,
yeah.
It's so good.
And then it's just Blade is like, told you I'll be back for you, and just stabs him in the face. You didn't think we would have forget about you, didn't you? He's like, no, and just stabs him, and that's when we cut to black. It's a really fun little end scene there. And that's Blade 2. Again, a really solid action movie. I like it quite a bit. It's really fun.
As do I.
I also like it.
And as we said like multiple times, it's just from this era of movies where it's like, oh, this is like well paced, the characters talk to each other, you can see what's happening in the action, you understand the motives and character arcs and stuff. It's funny, it's witty. Wesley Snipes is just amazing in that role. It's just great. And yeah, I like it. I want more of this, but we won't.
It's hard. Yeah, that's what I mean. If so many MCU movies or any of these movies can just reach this minimum level here, it doesn't have to be this crazy significant thing.
Yeah,
we'd appreciate it. You know, we already like the genre and the concepts you're exploring. Just tell us the story. That's not.
It's also kind of crazy that this is as high stakes as anything that's been in one of the like world-ending MCU's movies. It's just we don't need to see world-scale battles, you know?
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
it's okay if it's just the threat. It could destroy the world. Like it could just be overrun by Reapers and we're all gone.
Such a fucking point. This is a world-ending threat, but they don't have to slap us in the face with it and like make it so we're like, you know. It's just so frustrating to even deal with.
Yeah, it's just so tiring. It's like, oh, which universe is gonna explode this week? Oh boy. No, it's the quantum universe and the megaverse and the flimflamverse and the verse. Ugh.
Like having the
Meanwhile, the personal
and the
stakes are
Book of
like
Ashanti.
shallow.
Yeah.
It's just so nice to see like this again. It's like, God. It just feels lost, like a lost art.
Yeah, compare this to Multiverse of Madness.
I don't want to.
Darkhold. It's just crazy. It's too much.
Well, even something like Spider-Man 2, where like, you know, the entire city was threatened. That's like, I'm not gonna say it's an afterthought, but it's like not the main thing driving the plot. It's the interpersonal. It's the personal conflict of the character that ultimately fuels it. And it's like, where did we go? What happened?
It's like minus one. I'm like going into a Godzilla battle at the end and being like, wow, for the first time, I'm like, I'm actually invested in this. I want these people to win. I'm like, let's get this motherfucker. I hope this plan works. Like, it's just to get me to that point where I'm not invested in the characters, and you can go chunks of that movie and forget, like, oh yeah, I'm watching a Godzilla movie. Just the power of characters, and like they forget that a lot of the time.
Yeah,
it's as much a Jaws movie as it is like a Godzilla movie. It's like, hey, we got to figure out how to destroy this monster that's in the water.
Yeah, and if I
destroy him through his mouth.
We left it alive.
I can't wait to rewatch that movie. I loved it so much.
Just another thing, like just character introduction. Like if you just go back to 1 briefly, like Blade 1, like you get the opening scene, you immediately establish, oh, he's like well known. Everyone is scared of him. Most of the club just runs away. There's a couple of fighting vampires that are trying to get him, but they don't really have a chance. We see his wit. He's like having a great time killing vampires. It's all these things. Like we can tell things are happening, and then you go introduction to like I don't know, Ironheart, right? It's like I have this nano suit. I don't remember if it's a nanosuit, but I have this Iron Man suit that I built in this facility while also being in school. And
she built it to spite her fucking teacher. She built it because her teacher said she couldn't do it. Like, that's pretty much it.
It's so cringe because if you when you go back to Iron Man, actually, when he built his first thingy, there's like a whole montage.
Hey, Smooth the DJ is rating us.
Thanks, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Another German.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, no. Right.
Germans.
Yeah, if we go back to Iron Man in comparison to like Ironheart as well, it's like, oh, when he builds his first thing, he builds it in a cave with lots of effort, and that's like only his first draft basically that kind of works, and it immediately breaks after, and then he goes back to build the actual suit, and that takes him like possibly like weeks to actually do, because we get this whole montage of him testing and failing and having all these kinks.
Put in the work.
Yeah,
they put in the work, man.
He already has like this. I mean, he's already an established weapons manufacturer. Like, he has all the practical understanding and all these things he's done before. Well, she's still learning at school, but can also do, because this just all goes under the she's a prodigy, yay. Yeah. It's like, yeah, it doesn't mean that you don't have any problems like ever.
I have a whole video comparing those two, man. It's like this whole comparison so fresh in my mind. Riri and Iron Man is like, it's embarrassing when you really see the attempts they took.
I forget which show it was on. It might have been like Nerdrotic Nooner or something, but I was listening to one of the shows that X-Ray Girl produces this week, and they were talking about Ironheart being a show that was shot like 5 years ago.
That's insane.
And they just keep delaying it, and it might come out next year, but they're still not sure. It's like, can you imagine if they call her up for a season 2? It's like, hey, yeah, season 2. He's like, wait, I'm supposed to be playing a 15-year-old girl again. I'm like 25 now.
Yeah,
she's a different person. Now. She's like a mother with, you know, that's so fucked up. Like, you can't do things that way. Like, you're.
Oh, is that open bar? Person. Was it open bar? Were you on that, or oh man, because that was almost the exact thing.
I do remember that topic being discussed, and I would bring that up because I don't know. I feel like really attached to that character because like just the video I made, right? And,
yeah, makes sense.
It's just like I get messages like once a week saying, "Oh, you can't talk about Riri. It wasn't her movie." Like it's insane. Apply that to Thanos. Infinity War wasn't his movie, and he was fucking awesome.
Doesn't even matter. That's not her movie.
Yes, what I'm saying. It's on every cameo and every side character in existence, and it's the #1 bit of criticism I've had on this video. And I think I might actually make something in response to it because I feel like I can clip out like 100 people saying that.
But I think that's where she gets introduced to the universe. Of course, you can talk about it. What a stupid thing to say.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You can't judge her. It's not her movie. Blah 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 blah. I'm not even kidding. I could click my notifications. I probably have one from like within the last 48 hours. It's fucking nuts, man.
Annoying.
It's so common too, and it's just frustrating because that character is just indefensible.
But yeah, watch Blade 1 and 2. That shit is awesome. It's always a good time. I'll be returning those movies many times in my life. I'm sure, because it's just an easy, fun watch to do. Let's see, we got a super chat here from Wolf Spain for $5. Thank you very much. Since you guys are doing vampires at the moment, can you guys do the Underworld movies next? Oh, I haven't seen those in a long time. Those are kind of fun.
I remember the first one being really good. I remember
underrated
being pissed
trilogy.
off by the second one, and I kind of forget why.
It's an underrated trilogy. Don't know much about 4 and 5. I didn't even know there is 5 of those.
Oh, I remember liking the third one. The third one's a prequel, and it's actually kind of good.
I have a weird history
with those women who Lara Croft was based on originally.
So funny thing about the Underworld movies, they were thinking about doing a crossover with Blade until Marvel Studios got the rights back.
Oh, crazy!
That could have been funny.
Yeah.
Well,
also Resident Evil.
Just to make this conversation weird, I remember I used to use Kate Beckinsale. Is it Kate Beckinsale in that movie?
Are you gonna end this sentence with "to beat off" to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
100%.
I mean, did you have a body pillow? A Kate Beckin body pillow?
Hey, look, we're human.
She's very hot in that movie,
man.
okay?
She's
wearing a lot of latex.
She's also got that incredibly attractive.
That was the era of excessive leather, like leather on leather on leather on spandex on leather.
And that's a
Everything
little bit of
shiny,
leather.
everything bing.
It was a
She's saying
simpler
that
time.
dark makeup.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I'd rewatch those movies for sure at some point. Could be a fun thing to cover. Yeah, why not? Why not? I'm not gonna rule it out.
I honestly have no memory of why I didn't like the second one though. I honestly can't think of why. I don't really remember what happens.
I
Oh, you know what?
It's been too long.
That'd be good for Halloween.
Yeah, maybe.
Hallow's Eve. Yeah, maybe. Drink and stream Blade Trinity.
Oh boy.
I wish
I mean,
there
I
would
guess
be a
we
thing
could do
you
that
could do,
like
but
on another platform, not on YouTube. We get taken down so fast.
oh yeah.
Unless we just do like, okay, press play now, and you guys watch it with us, and we do like a commentary track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Otherwise, we have to do EFAP editing, which means it can't be live.
Well, no, I meant to do it live. You would have to just like not have the movie or the audio from the movie playing, and just tell the audience, okay, press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, play.
I think that's what Star Wars Theory does with his when he watches Star Wars shows. Then obviously he has like the time code at the top, so if you get lost, you can go back to it.
Yeah, see.
But yeah, good stuff. Go ahead. Sorry, I thought we were done.
Nah, I didn't.
Okay. But yeah, that's Blade 2. What a fun movie. Go watch it again. Before we get out of here, what are you lads up to? What are you doing? Wait, Brooks, are you here or are you?
He's got his thing up. So Meme, hey Meme, what are you up to?
Okay. Meme, tell him what you're doing.
The basically same as last week. Just getting through this this voodoo project that seems to keep fine. That I think I put a joke in there that the show literally tried to kill me. That's so yeah, that's there was at the beginning when they were at the beginning of Blade 2 when they were jumping around the masks, all I could think was, wow, those are like way better adaptations of the Talon than the Talon. Wowie. Anyway, yeah, just working on stuff, and hopefully it'll be out. Not gotten as much done on it because of all these appointments I've had, but I'm trying to move it on. Hopefully the computer doesn't explode in the meantime as well. That would be bad.
That'll be good.
I got a backup just in case.
But yeah, won't explode. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, the link is down below anyway. You can see what's it called? The Snyder song. That's the one. Mr. Edgeman.
Yeah, Mr. Edge guy. Yeah.
Edging.
Gotta make more songs.
Talking about edging, Swoll, what are you up to?
Edging. But let's see. I'm streaming MGS3 still. Nice. I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing 2 days a week, but I'm at least doing 1 stream a week.
Nice.
My script for my video's done. I just have to decide to record it, which may or may not take 6 months. Who knows? And I draw sometimes. I'm figuring out places to post my shit because I don't want Twitter, but I might have to.
Fair enough. Well, also
just don't follow anyone and you will be fine.
Yes.
No, follow everybody.
Everyone
will
be fine.
I did that before. It was not good for my mental health.
It really isn't. Like the Twitter is like actually designed to like. Yeah, I've noticed this myself. The tweets that take off are the ones that are as inflammatory and upsetting as possible. And it's like, that's not healthy to wake up to every single day. You know?
Well, I'm barely on Twitter.
Yeah. That is wise.
I don't know. I find I'm getting some decent momentum with like getting new followers by just arguing with people about the Acolyte or Elden Ring stuff.
I'm not exactly sure why.
I find that
but
fun though. So,
my recent Twitter feed has had a really big uptick on boobs, so I can't really complain.
Yeah, there you go.
Because it can detect how long you look at posts you see.
Maybe I was horny scrolling too long one night before I went to sleep. And it's like, oh, that's what you want. Okay.
Yeah, my Instagram's a bit the same. It's just all it's a lot of thoughts, and it's like I'm not even following any of you. It's just like just here in my face.
Indeed.
Nice.
Mr.
Eagles
Brooks,
are everywhere,
what are
man.
you up to?
I live with
Tell
one.
the lovely people where to find you. What are you up to? What's going on?
I'm in the copyright fighting phase
Ugh.
for my new Marvel video. So I've
Stinky.
got a big ass video coming out. The top 5 ruined MCU characters, basically,
Ooh.
like going through like their full stories from the very beginning. So like things that you've seen, but you're not even gonna remember the context for, all the way to when they're just completely butchered and like just really going in full depth. Yeah, it's you definitely want us to look out for. I've been working really hard on it.
Sounds
and
sick.
I'll probably make an Acolyte video at some point.
Oh boy.
And
I'm sorry.
And yeah, I know. I'm waiting until it finishes to get it as a whole, but I feel like I gotta say something about this show. It's so fucking ridiculous. But until then, I'd recommend the Iron Man video, just since we just mentioned it. Talked about that. So we literally just talked about Riri versus Ironheart versus Iron Man.
Yeah.
So if you're curious about that, check out that video. I just really go in depth on that.
Absolutely.
So, there you go.
Also down below the link. Mark, what are you streaming next? What are you flamming about?
Probably maybe even tonight I might do some more Elden Ring, because I got to get through Shadow of the Earth Tree before next week.
Mm-hmm.
And and I just finished redrafting the Hades 1 portion of my Hades video. So once I get finished with the redraft for Hades 2, which will hopefully be done today or tomorrow, I'll record it, and then hopefully have a new video come sometime relatively soon after that, because writing tends to be the thing that takes me the longest.
Oh yeah,
very nice.
As
very
it should.
Nice. Well, as always, down below.
I can kind of get in the zone with editing and like knock something out in like a 12-hour sitting or something like that. Whereas writing just does not work that way.
Indeed. Well, as for myself, I have to beat Bale and Radan tomorrow on stream. So if you want to see me Strager, I don't even know what word my brain was just forming. I meant to say struggle.
I think it was a slur you just said. I think
so.
Yeah,
I don't know against whom, but it's probably bad.
Someone on Twitter told
against
me
the
to fight
Yum
Bale.
people of St. Krunkerting.
Oh yeah, fuck those guys. But yeah, if you want to see me struggle, which is the word my brain actually should have come up with, that's gonna happen tomorrow. It's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a great time for chat, I guarantee you. But yeah, that's gonna happen tomorrow.
If Metal gets stuck on those 2 bosses for the rest of the week, at least I won't feel bad for
I hope not, because
definitely be the same thing happening to me.
I wanna start another DLC playthrough with mimic tiers and see how much I can break it and destroy the bosses with that, because it's probably gonna be a very different experience. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of experimentation and research for that stuff for the Elden Ring DLC Forge next week, which Theo is gonna be on, so you're gonna love this because
so buckle up if you're a big fan of Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, we might get in trouble for that one. Just in general.
I will be fist fighting people in the chat. I'm excited.
I feel like I'm going to be probably the lightest on Elden Ring out of the panel, but I also have some problems with it.
Oh, we got Theo. None of us can top Theo, because I'm still having fun with it to some degree.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I don't think Theo is really incorrect in pretty much anything he said about Elden Ring on that EFAP. It's just it ruined his experience in a way it's not ruined mine, I guess is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's the subjective side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But like again, he's correct, and I think one of the reasons why Lies of P is stronger than Elden Ring, especially in its boss design, is because it lacks a lot of the problems Theo was talking about.
Right. But yeah, look out for that. That's going to be next week on the Forge, of course. And I'm just hoping that my work is going to be less, so I can finally finish up my video as well, because I'm pretty much in front of the editing part, but I don't know, my work has just been kicking my ass, and this fucking Elden Ring DLC has been much more work than I expected again. I didn't expect
Wind Waker's he's never finishing Wind Waker, chat.
What is Wind Waker? I don't know.
Wind Waker will always be there, though.
Oh,
and it might one day be remade at 60 FPS if my wish comes true. I saw a shooting star not long ago, and
okay, hold on, Mark.
That's what I went for.
But yeah.
Metal has a history with this. He will leave a game and tell us he's coming back, and he never goes back to it.
Well, I've went back to Wind Waker though, and I
Yeah,
will
what about
go
Wulong?
back. Who?
Wulong.
Yeah, I know. I was memeing. It's like who? I don't know.
Slumpy, but trust me,
Yeah.
in Liza P, you have far more defensive options as well. He says, I'm a scrub. I'll take Elden Ring with its cheese over Liza P. Liza P, you have more things that you can use to defend. And that's not nothing.
Yeah, if you want to yell,
Well,
Everyone can block. Everyone can parry. No matter what your build is.
exactly.
Well,
yes.
Sidestepping and rolling, too, is a big one.
Let's play
Anyway,
Neo too.
Well, Metal is doing better than me because he only leaves the game. I leave the stream and say I'm coming back. And then,
Yeah.
I'll at least come back.
Well,
with
I mean,
another
I
game.
did have like a 12-hour stream of my streaming soon screen that absolutely was an accident, and like people accused me of trying to like view farm or something. I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm just an idiot. I just accidentally hit the go live thing. as I
View
was
farm on
closing
an
my
unlisted
computer.
stream that nobody can find. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that was another thing. I was like, how is anyone even seeing this? It's unlisted.
They find a way. Chat is powerful.
Well,
technically, the URL.
well,
does
I can
exist, they
tell
just
you
need
how
to
they
find
found it. You probably have like a playlist thingy in your setup, and then puts it in. When it's unlisted, it's still in the playlist. You can find it. That's how people sometimes find the unlisted prepped streams that I do for my streams.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jojo. I got a
And
puppy.
because on the main channel they all go into the game playlist before I throw them over to the archive channel. This gets listed in there immediately, and you can just see it. So yeah, there's your mystery.
Morgan.
But anyway, thank you all for hanging out. Thanks for super chats as well. Appreciate it. Thank you for the panel for hanging out. Always a good time. And I assume we're gonna do Blade Trinity to some degree in maybe 2 weeks. I actually have to check what's coming out. Isn't like Deadpool soon in August or something? I don't know. We'll figure
It's in
it out.
July. I think. Ooh, actually, that might conflict.
It might. We will figure it out. We will definitely do Trinity because I'm curious to do that anyway. But
You hear that, Jojo? We're gonna see the bad one.
Nah.
No,
Oh God,
Jojo,
no.
no.
Well, I don't think you want to see the bad one.
No,
Jojo's a
you've
girl.
been
She's just vicious.
See? Okay.
you've
It's
been
okay,
dog
baby.
cucked.
Exactly. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, yo.